the bottom. Here comes Gisette. They make contact. They touch once, twice, 3 times.
Oh, trouble! Oh, no, Rocky into the wall. Big crash front straightaway. Huge crash coming into the tri-oval. No, Rocky up and into the air.
They're beating and banging. Barr on the bottom. Cosman up top.
Cosman, I think. No! Briar by 1/1000th of a second. Joseph now! At the line, Thunhorse pulls the win out at the stripe.
Oh, he saves it! What's going to happen here?
Here comes the canvas! Get your foot down! He's got it! He's got it! McCandless is going to win!
FTF.GG welcomes you over to the Deuce. We're on the backup channel today for the Barr Visual FTF Cup Series, the Bricked Up 400K from the virtual Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're on the oval like civilized human beings tonight. Glad to have you with us. Jacob Pitts, Joey Tebben with you for the call. Zach Johnson producing for tonight. And, well, here we are back on the oval. We're not doing it in the real world, but I think we should start considering it.
We should start considering it, and this is going to be kind of like a lab test for it. We'll see how do next-gen cars race in Indianapolis. Is it going to be any good on the oval? I don't know. We got a full field of drivers, and this is as good of a test as we're going to get. I hope Doug Bowles and Roger Penske are watching.
Well, let's put it this way. If they race here tomorrow in the real world, like they did today in the Xfinity Series race, for the love of God, put them back on the oval. Let's take a look at our starting grid for tonight. 43 cars strong. Michael Rosero starts on pole position. Kevin King lines up on the outside. Then Wyatt Tinsley and Tyler Gary make up row number 2. Brendan Hawkins and Blake Reynolds make up row number 3. Nick Miller, Logan Helton round out row 4. And it's Michael P. Fresh and Sean Butler rounding out the top 10.
Then in P11, Nate Stewart is starting P11 as far as I can tell. Wait for the graphic to scroll over. Then Dylan Basin is P12. Jonathan Oates and Andrew Cootie, Jake Poulin and Ryan Naraki, Cole Freilich, Chris Wetz, Kevin McAdams, and Ethan Corder round out the top 20 spots.
21st is David Cabrera, Matt Spalding on the outside, then Nathan Rabideau, Lane Tidwell. Brett Punkari lines up in row 13 with Lucas Plessel, then Griffin Jones and Matt Danson. Landon Mills and Ryan Pandisio round out the top 30.
And the hits keep on coming. Down in row 16, Devin Mistak and Tyler Lonan. Corey Cook and Justin Malillo are row 17. And then Scotty Smith and Graham Bolin, row 18. Art Reimer, Clint Roberts, Gary Waterworth, and Robert Dorman are the top 20. But guess what? There's more.
Well, top 20, how about top 40? Round out the row 20. Blake, Bryant, Phillip, Cecil McCandless back here with Jeremy Clapple-Newell and Andy Margot. Jeremy Clapper-Newell, I should say, if I want to actually get the name right. And then you've got McCandless back there and Andy Margot. Ryan Huff will not race tonight. Did not make it in on speed. Joins A.J. Green. Dylan Dreiling as DNQs. Justin Malillo did make the field, but he is choosing not to race, serving as an admin tonight since he's not stuck in Pocono riding about a car that turned upside down like last week. So, field comes off turn number 4, getting set to go 400 kilometers, 100 laps. Here at the 2.5-mile Brickyard, it's Michael Rosero and Kevin King on the front row for the start. Glad to have you watching. Let's have some fun. We're underway from Indianapolis. Side by side to the line, Kevin King will barely lead that lap at start finish. The margin just 3/1000ths of a second. Michael Rosero fighting hard on that inside line.
Tyler Gary and Michael Frisch both started from the pits. They both had pretty high up starting spots, so they were 4th and 9th respectively, but they neglected those in favor of starting about 41st and 43rd. So both Gary and Frisch have a lot of work to do now, but battle rages on up front here. Rosero was on the attack, or on the defense rather, but Kevin King was able to get by. Rosero now on offense instead of defense. It's always tough to reverse the order, but he's not going anywhere.
I think Griffin Jones did the same thing starting from pit road. Not surprised that Frisch started from the pits. Seems like that's his race strategy just about everywhere we go. A little more surprised with Tyler Gary. One car off pace in the back of the field. Coming off turn 4. That's the green car, Corey Cook. Got way up and out of the groove, actually slapped the wall. It got loose and then slapped the wall in between turns 3 and 4. Unlike any other track that we go to, many straightaways between turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You get 4 separate corners here at Indianapolis, and we count them as such, kind of like Pocono. 3 separate corners, and we count them as such.
Or 6, if you ask Ryan Vargas.
Or 5 if you ask the wrong people. That was more my emphasis there, since I know some of them are involved here. But we'll excuse their inability to count and watch these guys come back to the start-finish line. Kevin King holds down the fort out in front. Things have strung out single file down through the order. First battle forming right now, right in front of Jake Poulin. It's Cole Freilich and Jonathan Oates. That's for P13.
And this is kind of what I expected to see at the start here. This is kind of what we expect to see from stock cars in Indianapolis occasionally. Just, it's so different from the style of racing that normally races at this track. We've seen long trains of cars in the Indy cars too, but especially in the days of the old aero kits, you can see a lot more side-by-side action, and we are seeing a little bit of side-by-side action. Some guys attempting to peek to the inside. That's the battle for third between Reynolds and Tinsley, I believe, a little bit further back. So as soon as I talk about it getting strung out, we're gonna start racing again.
Well, and it helps with the draft down the long back straightaway and the long front straightaway to help set moves up for the corners, kind of like the Indy cars here when they come to this 2.5-mile raceway. But for the time being, it looks like Blake Reynolds may get drop kicked a couple of spots. Tinsley goes by him on the outside, takes over third. Here comes Helton. He's going to look to try and clear for fourth, and he will. That'll leave Dylan Basin hung up on the outside, and Reynolds is going to try and hold it down on the bottom. Got Hawkins right behind. 5 races to go in the playoffs. Let me try it again. 5 races to go until we get to the playoffs. We're getting toward the end of this deal. Obviously, Indianapolis tonight, then Michigan next week. A rare doubleheader in 2 weeks. Richmond and Watkins Glen before we wrap things up at the end of August after a week off at Daytona to set the field for the playoffs.
And the big name isn't actually here tonight. We were talking about it before the race started. Michael Cozy not in the field tonight, so that's going to be potentially a spot open in the playoffs for any number of other drivers to pick up. I believe he's too busy being at this track in real life on the other layout, but on the oval tonight, big opportunity for at least one of these drivers to take that last spot.
Yeah, Cozy, he's made 17 starts this season. He sits 17th in points. That's without people that are locked in with wins and such. Obviously, that shifts things around a little bit, but since I don't have that in front of me, the best I can do is to show him right now. He is 17th in points. I believe there are a couple on the outside that have wins. Of course, they're not locked in, specifically Bolin, Philip Cecil McCandless, Michael Guest, and well, there's one more, Dylan Alt. They are not locked in. They don't have enough races to lock themselves in. They need to meet the minimum number of starts. They can't do that with the amount of races that are left. There's one guy that can. It's Cosman. He is back there in points. He's in the 15th position right now. He could have locked himself in if he started tonight, but he did not make the show, did not attempt to make the show. So for Cosman, he's still on the outside looking in. He still needs that one more race. You need to start 20 or more in order to lock yourself in with a win. He's at 19. Remember, he won the season opener back at Daytona.
Looks like Corey Cook, who we saw get into the wall a little bit earlier in one of the short shoots. Corey has gone 3 laps down now, so that car clearly heavily damaged after that contact, and it will be kind of a race to fall back on for Corey Cook. But if we do get some cautions later on in the run, it's a question. When do you get that caution? And when you get a caution, with how difficult track position is to keep, or how difficult it is to get, rather, at this track, cautions do breed cautions, and especially at Indianapolis, when you really want track position, whenever that yellow does come out, or I should say, if ever that yellow does come out, Corey Cook could be looking at a couple lucky dogs.
No fast repairs here in the FTF Cup Series, so you damage your car, you're stuck with the damage the rest of the way, and that'll really hurt for Corey Cook. Now 4 laps down, still sitting in the pits. We'll see if that 161 can get back out onto the racetrack any time soon. Speaking of guys that were locking themselves in, Brandon Hawkins, he has a win this season. 19 starts coming into today. This is start number 20. So Brandon Hawkins officially locks himself in with that win in the battle for points, or in the battle for the playoffs. Obviously, you can still point your way in and not have that win officially lock you in. That was kind of the situation that Hawkins was in. He's high enough in points. He's P8 right now in points, all things considered, but now that win officially locks him in to the playoffs. So if he doesn't want to, he doesn't have to show up the rest of this season, although I bet he will, knowing that there's a road course coming up in the next couple of weeks when we go to Watkins Glen.
Dylan Basin, that white car on the inside, the hard charger of the start of this race. He started in 12th. Now he's up to 4th. Not much difficulty getting by Wyatt Tinsley there. Wyatt completely opens the door, allows Basin and Hawkins to get through. Dylan Basin's on a charge here, and Helton and Rosero, they are very, very close. Look for Dylan Basin as he slides just a little bit out of 4. I think he's going for 2nd here and maybe even the lead. Rosero and Helton don't seem to have the speed to challenge King, at least this early in the run, but Dylan Basin and Brandon Hawkins, who's fighting back now, they seem like the fastest cars on track at the moment.
And talking with guys in pre-race, it was kind of a consensus that it's going to be similar to last week when we were at Pocono. That being, get a caution early. We're going to see a lot of cautions early. We got a caution late. We're going to see a lot of cautions late. Last week, we went green up through, I believe, the middle of stage 2. Then it turned into a crash fest, and we struggled to put a green flag run together till the very end of the race. As of now, 10 laps complete this time by under green. Your stages are the end of lap 20, the end of lap 50, and then a final 50 lap dash to the end. No cautions for those stages, so once we hit a stage end, we keep on racing under the green flag. No cautions even on the ovals.
Side by side here, a couple of positions back, because Wyatt Tinsley's kind of holding up the train just a little bit, almost in the wall. I believe is Cootie. Just almost scrapes the outside wall. That's very easy to do, but Jonathan Oates getting super loose in 1 as well. These cars are a little bit all over the place further back in the pack. We're only 11 laps into this run, but if you're already sliding, you got to be careful because you're going to be melting rubber in the back of that car, and obviously you do not want to be doing that. So Jonathan Oates got to do a little bit of work to keep all 4 tires pointing in the right direction, as Cole Freilich now trying to pick up a spot.
Well, and from what we've been told about the setup, as these guys burn fuel, the rear end of the car gets further up off the ground. Obviously, that lifts the diffuser. More air gets underneath, and these things get extremely loose. You've also got to keep in mind the track temperature is at a cool 140 degrees right now. That's the highest it's been so far in this session. Before the green flag, it was at 139, so it's gone up over that 140 benchmark. Air temperature flat at 90. That's the highest the sim can go at this time. No humidity, though, for these guys, so it's a dry heat, I guess.
You saw Kevin McAdams making a big move on Jake Poulin, who kind of opened the door like Wyatt Tinsley did a few laps ago, but still a good move after a huge loose moment at a turn 4. Looks like a little bit of a train further back here. We're seeing moves. We're seeing movers. Oh, that's not a lot of room between Rocky and Wyatt Tinsley, and I think there was wall contact there.
Well, there was contact between each other there. I don't think Naraki ever got the wall, but he certainly got close to it. Naraki won this race a year ago, and he's really battling hard for that 8th spot, now trying to break the draft. Nate Stewart right there as well in that Ford machine. He'll go to the inside of Tinsley and try and take that 9th spot away, and he does.
2 spots up for Nate Stewart so far. He's a mover, a small mover, and Wyatt Tinsley, unfortunately, is a big mover in the opposite direction. Started 3rd, and he has just been falling through the field, now down into 10th. He opened the door to let Basin and Helton by, and he's down to 10th now, and Butler, Oates, Freilich, they're not too far behind, and they're looking to capitalize if Tinsley falls even further.
Call life alert for Dylan Basin's camera that he had for us. It fell over. So hopefully you can get that fixed under a pit stop or a caution.
Hey, there it is.
But, yeah, hey, there it is. We fixed it.
In the middle of the corner. Wow.
Oh, we got one car slow and in the wall off turn 4. Everybody trying to avoid. That's Graham Bolin off the pace. He got really loose. He made contact with Landon Mills and then slapped the outside wall. Everybody fanned out to avoid him. Chris Wetz went all the way down to the pit wall, but everybody avoids him, but he is severely off the pace. Back in the 28th spot, he's got Devin Mistak closing in on him pretty quickly. That thing seems way broken. He does not have a meatball flag, but he's going down onto the access road in turn 2.
Yeah, just letting everybody by there. That's the right thing to do. He put himself in the wall to get out of the way. So as nice as you can be, Graham Bolin getting out of the way, letting everybody by, and I have a feeling that might be his race done, which is a shame. Only lap 14 of a 100-lap event here. He might come down pit road and get some repairs, or I certainly would not blame him if he just elects to kill that car off and have his race finish at the back of the field tonight. But yeah, here's Graham, still on the access road. Could have gone up back on the track. I don't think there's anybody else around, but here comes the 48. We'll see. Does the car magically disappear when he brings it into his box, or is he going to take the repairs that he needs and at least try and recover something out of this race? We'll have to wait and see.
Yep, he'll bring it down the long trip down pit road. Feels like an eternity here with how narrow pit road is, and he's going to pull into his box. And looks like he's going to stay out there. They'll jack the right side up. They'll get to work on that machine and try and make something out of this. Side-by-side battle for the 14th position. 14th. Andrew Cootie, Kevin McAdams back here. Also got the 30 of Matt Danson right behind him.
Right ahead of this was a huge sideways moment for Cole Freilich through the short chute. He is another driver who just seems to be struggling a little bit in this part of the run. He almost lost it. He was about 45 degrees sideways. That was a crazy save by Cole Freilich.
5 to go here in stage number 1. Graham Bolin is rolling again. He's about to exit pit road. Just a 30-second stop for him. Again, no fast repairs, so not too much damage for him. He's able to get it fixed and able to get back out there. He should remain just 1 lap down. How about the battle for 5th? Dylan Basin. Oh, look out. Somebody really sideways coming off turn 2. That's Cole Freilich, I believe.
Again.
And that thing seems a little evil.
Very evil, and we're racing for every position on this track. Look here, back in what is this, about 40th? I think this is Andy Margot in the back of your shot, recovering from that pit lane start. Clapper Newell as well, and Clint Roberts at the head of that little train. They're all just either recovering from bad starting spots, or I think we got trouble further ahead.
Well, I tell you what, Andrew Cootie got very close to spinning it off turn 4. Ryan Naraki has come to pit road, and now issues for the 17 that you just saw right there of Devin Mistak. He's off the pace, but he's still rolling. By the way, yay, the Phillies somehow managed to win yet another baseball game in extra innings to the Pirates. Whoopee.
That's my favorite game. That's my favorite game of the year. I don't watch baseball, but I always look forward to Phillies Pirates because when that game starts, you know what the ticker says. It's my favorite. It's my favorite baseball moment of the year. I love it.
And both teams have been playing like it as of these past couple of games. I'm really getting sick and tired of these extra inning games because I know the Phillies bullpen can't do that for much longer. Coming to 3 to go here in stage number 1. Kevin King has led all but the first lap, I believe. Rosero beat him out at the line on lap 1. But since then, Kevin King has taken the lead, and he has not looked back. Side by side for 12th. Freilich and McAdams headed to turn number 1.
Freilich is just on a little bit of a downward spiral here. He opens the door to McAdams, to Danson as well. The car's not dancing around as much as it once was for Cole Freilich, but he's clearly not on the pace. Last lap, a 56.6. That's slower than just about anybody in the top 20. He is clearly struggling, and he's going to want to get off those tires as soon as he possibly can.
6 sets of tires for these guys on pit road, so they've got plenty of fresh virtual Goodyears in the pit lane. I think with Cole Freilich, it's just a problem of using up those tires too early. He started 17th. He made his way up on the doorstep of the top 10 before now falling back just without any grip, it seems like, in the rear of the car. So I think for Freilich, he's learned maybe don't push the tires too much, even though track position matters so much because it's so difficult to pass here.
It is proving difficult to pass, but it's not proving impossible to pass, which I think is a pretty promising thing. If we are legitimately thinking about bringing this race back to the oval in the future, at least the iRacing version of the next-gen car, of course, it's not a perfect real-life experiment, but it's been racing pretty decently. It's not been bad at all, and we're about to see a battle for the lead here as Blake Reynolds has actually chased down Kevin King. It was a big gap for King, but it's fallen apart now. It's now below a 10th.
And that's Corey Cook, a lap car right behind him as well. So Corey will come to the inside and try and pass both these guys, and will. And now here comes Reynolds peeking to the inside, and that's 66, looking for the lead.
And Corey is multiple laps down, but Corey's on fresh tires, even with that damage that's been repaired. So even though Corey Cook is 12 laps down, I 100% commend the number 61 for getting back out there, trying to pick up whatever pieces are left. There's still 80 laps left in the race. There's still plenty of chaos and drama that can happen, and I guarantee you there will at least be one other DNF that a car that's 12 laps down will be able to pass. So good job, Corey Cook. Keep it moving.
This is for the stage win. Half a lap to go between Reynolds and King. Reynolds wrestled the lead away from that 29, but Kevin King's got to run. He's not done yet. You got Rosero in third. Kevin King got very loose coming off turn 4 that last time by, and it opened up the door for that 66. Here they come now, headed to turn number 4. A little bit of a bobble out of Reynolds. I don't think it's going to matter, though. I think Kevin King's just a little too far back. So Blake Reynolds will bring it around off corner number 4 and bring this thing down the front straightaway, and he will win stage number 1 here from Indianapolis. Kevin King second, Michael Rosero third, Logan Helton fourth, and Wyatt Tinsley, Brandon Hawkins, Dylan Basin, Nick Miller, Nate Stewart, and Sean Butler rounding out your top 10 as we now have a 30-lap stage 2 that'll take us to the end of lap 50.
Well done, Wyatt Tinsley, for recovering to 5th place there. I was talking at least about how he was on a little bit of a downward fall. He was losing the tires. He fell as low as 10th, and he went and passed his way back up to 5th. So Wyatt Tinsley having a little bit of a rubber band of a race, but he's back up into the top 5. Not quite where he qualified, but it's been a charge back forward for Wyatt Tinsley, and it's been a very solid recovery, at least in the first 20 laps of this race.
Looking for a battle on the racetrack that might be worth keeping an eye on. How about 7th? Nice little train there with Hawkins, Miller, and Stewart. This is for 7th, 8th, and 9th back here. You've also got just up the road Dylan Basin in the 0-4.
Yeah, Dylan Basin, another one of those drivers who was charging forward, but in an opposite way to Wyatt Tinsley. He's actually lost a little bit of ground, as on your screen there at the head of this little pack, Brandon Hawkins in the 99 gets loose off a 2. That lets Nick Miller in the 19 take a little bit of a peek to the inside, but he actually had a very suboptimal exit there. That's going to slow him way down. Nate Stewart actually takes a little bit of a peek, but not quite close enough to go by. All these guys struggling. Loose again, big loose again for Brandon Hawkins, but somehow he's still faster than Nick Miller.
Well, Nick Miller about lost it coming off of turn number 2 that last time by. One car on pit road. It's Griffin Jones making his FTF debut tonight. He's on pit road for his first pit stop of the race. 22 laps complete. Here from Indianapolis, Blake Reynolds leads by half a second over Kevin King. Michael Rosero in the 3rd spot, and he has got that fishing pole out. He's starting to reel in that 29 ever so slowly. That last time by, just a couple of hundredths faster.
Yeah, reeling in the big fish, but if you want to talk about reeling in the big frish, Michael P. Frisch, remember, he started from the pits. He started technically in about 43rd, and how many spots up is he? About 18. He's up to 25th from the pits. So Michael P. Frisch, completely under green, doing a fantastic job to drive his way through the field. He actually just made that move for 26th a little bit earlier on Tyler Lonan, so the Frisch keeps on swimming upstream. And there's more cars right ahead. That's Chris Wetz ahead. Frisch was 0.7 of a second per lap faster than Wetz. He was 0.4 of a lap faster than McCandless. He was 0.7 of a lap faster than Cootie. 0.7 of a second a lap, rather, if I organize those words in the right direction. But either way, Michael P. Frisch is moving, and he's going to keep moving.
Frisch is your point leader. He's made every single start this season, joining a select few. Nate Stewart, Kevin McAdams, and Matthew Zwack, as well as Jonathan Oates, Nick Miller, Spencer Ray, Justin Melillo, but that's not true because I know he's missed a few, Rabideau, Chris Wetz, and others. But for folks curious, only one win for Frisch this year, but leads the series in top 10s with 13, second in top 5s with 9. The only guy that hasn't beat Brian Mercurio. Brandon Hawkins is sideways, and he's coming to pit road here, coming off turn 4.
And we're going 3 wide down the front straight with Stewart, Miller, and Butler. Look at this. Who's going to back out? I don't think any of them are going to back out. Let's see if 3 wide works into turn 1 at Indy. Nate Stewart and Nick Miller both do back out. I wasn't expecting that, but they kind of had to for their own survival.
Sean!
But now, huge loose for Butler, and that's one way to take yourself out of the fight.
60% throttle, he says. Sean does not like the next gens at all. As Kyle Busch once eloquently said about the car tomorrow, I can't stand to drive them, they suck. That's how Sean feels about this thing. And, well, he was having a good run going. And like every other race he's tried this season, the bad luck bug strikes him and sends him back a couple of spots. That drop kicks him back to 12th.
He's got to start thinking about coming down pit road now. Brandon Hawkins just did under green conditions because he was struggling so much with that car. And Butler's just going to kill it in the concrete wall in the front straight. I wouldn't be surprised if he quits this thing. But if I was him, I'd be bringing it down pit road right now, getting those tires off the car no matter what, because if I'm on these tires, if I'm struggling as much as he clearly is, I'm going to kill the car before I even get a chance to recover.
Sean Butler in points. Of course, I got to look here. He's 43rd in points. This is his 12th start, and now we almost have a crash. Oh, my gosh. Who was that? David Cabrera almost turned across the nose. The 48 of Graham Bolin, and we have a lot of people saying that they're coming to pit road this time by. Your leader is not one of them. Your former leader, Kevin King, is. So is Michael Rosero and Wyatt Tinsley.
And this is such a long lap that you can really pull off an undercut here if you are fast enough, if you can get the tires warmed up quickly enough. An undercut certainly is a viable strategy here. The gap between Reynolds and King was about 0.8 of a second, and that's about the pace difference that Michael P. Frisch has had between some of the cars that he's racing in what was the bottom of the top 20.
Trouble.
Now up in the top 10, we got trouble.
Into the inside wall, it's Robert Dorman off turn 4. He was crawling as it is, but going 70 mile an hour. He lost center braking and slapped the inside wall before he got to pit road. Obviously, he's good enough to keep on rolling. We stay green. Hawkins is in turn 4, and he is going to pit this time. So your race leader, Blake Reynolds, will bring it in. So will Logan Helton, as will Dylan Basin. Is anybody on the lead lap going to stay out? It doesn't look like it. Here comes the rest of the field. Jake Poulin will stay out. He will take over your race lead. He has not yet pitted.
It's looking like this is about the limit for the fuel, so you might think you want to extend it to 33. You want to do just a 2-stop race, but that is essentially physically impossible unless we get a lot of yellow. And unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you're looking at it, we went green all the way from the green flag to right now. So it's been a 28-lap green run, and this basically tells you how long you can extend a tank of fuel. So expect, if I can count backwards, 2 more stops. Yeah, 2 more stops. So a 3-stop race if we go green all the way. If we do get some yellows, it could go down to a 1-stop. We'll have to wait and see, though.
Surprisingly, doesn't look like there have been any penalties handed out throughout this first round of green flag pit stops. Everybody making it out just fine. So here comes Pullen. He'll come onto pit road for his first stop, as will Brett Pancari. So here comes Ryan Nalraki. Now, Nalraki pitted back 11 laps ago, now 12 laps ago. So he will take over the race lead. He's got a 6.5-second lead over Brandon Hawkins. The problem is Hawkins is 2 seconds a lap faster than Nalraki. So he is coming at a blistering pace. It's actually 10 seconds. I can't read, but still, he is hauling the mail to get to that 37.
Well, the problem is also that Nalraki has to make 3 more stops. He can't make it to the end on 2 more stops, 2 more stops like everybody else can. It's hard to count right now. But yeah, Nalraki, because he came in so early, he's got the track position right now. But under green, he cannot win this race. So I think he's hoping for a lot of yellow. He's hoping to keep this track position. He's hoping to save as much fuel as possible under caution. If he doesn't get that, it's a valiant effort. It got him quite a bit of track position, and if the yellows come his way, it'll work out for him, but it's always a risk to do something like this.
See what lap times here are here at the start-finish line. 55.953 for Nalraki. Hawkins a 54.010. So still just about a 2-second margin between lap times, and you see Nalraki is loose. He's getting passed by some lap cars. Scotty Smith is one. The other is Griffin Jones.
And Nalraki letting a few cars who are a lap down or were a lap down, they're going to get back on the lead lap. And if you look back in third, Kevin King has actually repassed Blake Reynolds in the pit cycle, and he's got a gap of about 2 full seconds. So that's incredible. That didn't come in the pit stall. That didn't really come from the overcut or the undercut. That was just a fantastic outlap somehow for Kevin King, and he's pulled a huge gap. He's reversed the gap by about 3 seconds.
Yeah, the gap now between King and Reynolds is 2 seconds. And you're right, the entire time from pit entry to pit exit, a 46.1 for Kevin King, a 46.2 for Blake Reynolds. So it was the in and out lap that King picked up all of that time, mostly the out lap, all over the 66 of Blake Reynolds. But you have to wonder if maybe Reynolds saving his tires a little bit more so he gets more out of them over the run instead of just throttling them to death now and then having nothing to work with later on. You also see Brandon Hawkins right in front. Hawkins pitted 2 laps before King, and he's just a couple of tenths off from King's lap time. He is closing in on that 99. Andrew Cootie has disconnected. Not sure what happened to the driver of the 25. He was having a decent run, and looks like he hit the wall coming off turn 2 and decided, yep, you know what, I'm done, and unplugged the computer. Simple as that.
I hope he didn't unplug the computer. I hope he just shut it off. But yeah, Andrew Cootie, bad luck at the back of the field. Well, bad luck or unfortunate mistake, whatever it was. He's going to be the first actual DNF of the race because Corey Cook is still around 12 laps down. And just back on the topic of King and Reynolds, I'm mystified how this gap formed, because even if Blake was trying to save tires, they only pitted 1 lap separately. So Blake could be, I don't know how much tire saving Blake could do over 1 lap to build a 2-second gap. I watched his pit exit. He didn't make any mistakes. He didn't lose it on the pit out lane. It looked completely normal, but somehow an 8/10 gap in Reynolds' favor has flipped around to a 2/10 gap in King's favor. Reynolds is closing it down, which was very much helped by Brandon Hawkins holding up King for a few laps here. And now King actually has a buffer in the form of Brandon, who can hopefully hold Reynolds back and then even out the gap again. And they're all catching Nalraki by 2 full seconds a lap. So there's like 3 different battles for 3 different strategies going on here, but it's all working out for Kevin King for the moment.
Yeah, that pace has not fallen off as far as how much Naraki is losing to the guys behind him. It's still consistently 2 seconds a lap. He's going to get past more than likely next time by. The gap is 2 seconds as Naraki pulls it off turn 4. Kevin King is within striking distance at this point. Naraki leads. Kevin King hunting him down in second. Hawkins sits in third. Blake Reynolds is fourth. Michael Rosero sits in the fifth position. Then you got Dylan Basin and Wyatt Tinsley battling for sixth. And Nick Miller right behind, as well as Matt Danson and Logan Helton. A good battle from sixth on back.
And they're going to catch Naraki here very quickly, but here is that train of 5-car tandem, whatever the 5 equivalent of a tandem is, a quin tandem, I don't know, but at the back of this, that is, who is that? I gotta count. That's Logan Helton making the move on Danson. He peeks to the inside, and that's not going to be too difficult of a move. Danson basically lets him go, and he's going to advance at least one more spot in this train, but he's got 3 more ahead. We know Dylan Basin and Wyatt Tinsley were very good at the end of the long run, so even if they do lose this position here, I'd expect them to get it right back as these tires fall off. They've been very, very good and very, very kind to their tires so far tonight.
For the lead, Kevin King blows by Ryan Naraki in turn 1 and takes the lead back.
And the Rockies been running 56 7s, 56 9s, almost 2.5 seconds off the pace, which is, it's very difficult to drive. We saw him actually hit the wall out of 4 a couple laps ago. He's clearly struggling, but once you commit to a strategy like this, you can't just give up. You got to keep committing, and he is continuing to commit. Brandon Hawkins going to get by, and I can only imagine Blake Reynolds will probably get by after turn 4 as well. It's going to continue falling for Naraki, but he's just hoping and praying that a yellow comes out one of these days.
Yeah, there goes Rosero as well. So Naraki in one lap falls from first to fifth, and he is really sideways. In fact, he's going to pull the trigger now and come onto pit road after just 18 laps. Now with 15 to go in stage number 2. We'd like to welcome in a new audience. For those of you just watching the EA HAL 500 over on the main FTF, we'd like to welcome you over to the Deuce here, FTF 2. This is the Barr FTF Cup Series for the bricked up 400K from Indianapolis. Jacob Pitts, Joey Tevin with you, Zach Johnson, our producer. Kevin King is currently your race leader. We're on lap 36, 35 laps complete, no cautions, stage 1 complete. Blake Reynolds, your winner, as he goes by Hawkins here and takes over position number 2, and he will set his sights now on that 29 once again, and he's going to hope that that red rear bumper of the 29 gets closer and closer in his windshield.
The chase is now on, and Blake Reynolds was very, very fast in that last stint. Probably unbeatable, essentially. He pulled almost a full second gap over King on that last stint, but he's still got 1.5 seconds to make up now. He actually lost a little bit through turn 1, so that is just, I think, a little bit of saving. This is basically what we saw on that last stint. King was so strong in the initial stage of the stint, the initial half of the stint, essentially, and then as it went on, Blake Reynolds was kinder to his tires, and he made the move easily. So we could see exactly the same as we saw in that first stint, or maybe Kevin King has done a little bit of learning, and he's doing better at saving his tires. So I don't know. We've got a few more laps to see what happens here.
How about Danson? Well, that's a lap car that he's flying by, so never mind. But Wyatt Tinsley,
a pass is a pass.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's Logan Helton and Wyatt Tinsley, though, that are bumper to bumper. This is for 6th, headed back to turn 1.
Tinsley could be doing exactly the same thing we saw in that first stint as well. I don't know if we're just going to see 3 mirrors or 4 mirrors of the same stint over the course of this race, but Tinsley as well doesn't seem to have the short run pace, but he does have the long run pace, which doesn't bode well, because there's going to be a short stint to finish this race after you pit on lap 28, you pit on lap 56, you pit on lap 84. There's going to be a 16-lap stint to end this race if we do continue under green, and if you don't have that short run speed, you're going to be in danger. So Blake Reynolds could end up being in danger if he loses the lead again on a pit cycle. Wyatt Tinsley could be in danger, and a few other guys who aren't quite as strong on the short run, they could be in trouble once we get to that last stint.
Kevin King continues to lead the way. That last time by, Blake Reynolds 0.2 faster. Now, King did have to get around the lap car of Griffin Jones, but the gap is down almost to a second. It was 1.6 seconds when Reynolds took that second spot over. There's the battle for sixth once again between Tinsley and Logan Helton, still heating up.
Seems very, very hard to actually get a run. You can see Logan Helton, he's moving forward just a little bit, but he's kind of hitting a bubble like we used to see in the Gen 6 cars in the latter years of that. So that doesn't really bode well for bringing this car back to the Indy Oval. But I also wonder, maybe Logan Helton is just saving a little bit of fuel behind Tinsley, or if this is just legitimately how the draft is going to work in these cars. There might actually just be a bubble. I guess we'll see here as Tinsley hits the wall in 4. Helton is actually going to peek to the inside, so he seems inclined to make a move. He doesn't seem inclined to stay back and save fuel. And again, Tinsley's just going to let him by easily. That's the best thing you can do. I think that's the best way to not slow yourself down. Just to let the guy through, get back in line instead of fighting side by side through the corner and ruining both your runs and putting you in danger from Danson, who's on the scene as well.
Well, and Tinsley does not want to melt his tires off, at least not yet. So good move by him just to get in line and kind of follow around. And maybe Matt Danson might be able to get by as well in that 30. We'll just have to wait and see. Blake Reynolds falling off a bit. Well, I say that, but now he starts to reel Kevin King in once again. This time by, we will have 10 laps to go in stage number 2 here from Indianapolis. We have been green and clean all the way through these 40 laps. Couple of cars bouncing off the wall, and Sean Butler had a little bit of a scenic route through turn 2. Other than that, it has been all clean from the entire field.
And that only makes some of these runs through the field more impressive. A driver we haven't mentioned yet is Blake Bryant. He started 41st. Where is he? You've probably seen him scrolling through, not quite in the top 15, but he is 17th. 41st to 17th for Blake Bryant. He's been on a run. Michael Frisch has been on a run. Lots of drivers from the back. Tyler Gary as well. Not quite as far up the field as some of the others, but he's moving his way forward too. But look at that. Started 41st, 17th, 24 spots. And they're going to keep on coming here because last lap for Blake Bryant, well, my ATVO says his last lap was a 4-second lap. So if he can keep that pace up, I think he's going to lap the field about 40 times. But either way, legitimately, he does have quite a bit of speed. And this has been a fantastic race through the field so far for Blake Bryant.
Yeah, I believe he's had some connection issues on that last lap, which is why it's showing up as a single-digit second lap.
I gotta count, how fast would that be? A 4-second lap around a 2.5 mile track. That's gotta be like Mach 2.
Well, it's updated now. 55.982 was his last lap compared to those around him. Faster than Spalding, who's in 16th. Slower though than Mills and Corder. Faster than Butler, who's in 13th. So he's right around the average with all the guys that he is trying to catch and race is Blake Bryant right now, back in the 17th position.
I did just calculate for those curious, which I imagine is just me, to go around 2.5 miles in 4 seconds. That's 2,250 miles per hour. So basically 2,000 miles per hour over what we're used to in the IndyCar. And I, for one, if the next gen can do 2,250 miles per hour laps around Indy, sign me up.
Well, I have a feeling the Indy cars will beat NASCAR to that, but that's just me. There you see Sean Butler. He's kind of struggling right now, getting passed by Ethan Corder. Got Landon Mills right behind him. That's 13th, 14th, and 15th.
Yeah, this train is growing just a little bit. It was once a 5-car train, and now it's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's like a 15-car train here rolling through. Sean Butler still in the show, still on the track. He's been struggling very, very much in the latter stages of the run. In the early stages of the run, he's still getting the wiggles, but he's at least keeping the car under him this time. It's been a struggle tonight for Sean, but the struggles have not continued just yet in this stint. I thought that was almost a guy coming down pit road a little bit further back, but no, that was just a little bit of a slide.
I was gonna say that was right in front of Blake Bryant there, but here comes Mills to the inside, looking not quite gonna get there on Sean, so he'll wait another corner, and Oh, well, maybe he'll try and do it on exit. Right to the rear corner panel, hits him into the wall, goes Sean. Butler into the outside wall, and that 32 contact between him and Landon Mills, and Sean Butler will come to rest up against the outside wall, blinking out of existence. I think he has given up on the race as well, as his quality now plunges down through the 60s into the red. A tough break for Sean Butler. Had a good run going early, and now after this early slide in that first stint, and now getting put into the outside wall with assistance from Landon Mills.
Yeah, Sean Butler has been put out of his misery just a little bit. But there's still half of a race to go, which is remarkable. 45 laps in here. Stage is going to end in 5 laps time. Kevin King now got to look back in his mirrors. That is Blake Reynolds, the second car on your screen. The gap's down to 0.6 of a second, and Blake's got 5 laps to make this move if he wants to win this stage. Last lap he was 0.2 faster than Kevin King, but if he finds that bubble like Logan Helton did behind Wyatt Tinsley, it might not be as easy as it was in the previous stage.
He has just been faster every lap pretty much throughout this entire run, and now coming to 5 to go in stage 2, he is within striking distance of getting himself a second stage win of the night. And for Blake Reynolds, he has had a lot of success in this season. Reynolds second in points, 4 wins, 6 top 5s, 7 top 10s. An average, 2 poles this season. He has just been very, very fast week in and week out. He's only missed 1 race this season, and even then, he is just making the most out of every start that he has made. Trouble for Jeremy Clapper Newell up the road. He's got a meatball flag, something wrong on the 95 machine. He is just in front of the leaders coming through turn 4 right now. He might have a flat tire. He gets onto the apron and gets out of harm's way for the leaders as the leaders come to take 4 laps to go. The draft certainly helping Blake Reynolds. It's 0.3 at the line.
Gap just evened out a little bit. Blake was faster on that last lap, but it seems to have equalized around 0.3 here. Through turn 1, he's bringing it down just a little bit, and the real test will be here. Down the back straight, Reynolds clearly faster, much, much faster through turns 1 and 2, but on the straight, can he actually get a run to get by Kevin King, or is he going to run into a little bit of a wall of air here? Down the straight, he's closing, but he's not closing anywhere near fast enough, and he's going to have to wait another lap, maybe another 2 laps, maybe another 3 laps. It's proving to be harder than he thought to actually make this move. Through turn 4, again, you can see he's just much, much quicker through the corners, but on the straights, it's just completely equaling out. And that is so frustrating when you're in this situation in a car that seemingly can't pass in a straight.
3 laps to go this time by here in stage number 2. Blake Reynolds within the tire tracks now. The race leader in Kevin King. There is lap traffic ahead. It's Andy Margot and Robert Dorman. These guys will be a factor as here comes that 66 of Reynolds to the inside. A lot of a squeeze from Kevin King trying to be defensive coming off turn number 2. It's going to be side by side, a little side drafting down the back stretch.
Yeah, it looks like there was no drafting with one car in front of the other, but the side draft as powerful as it's ever been, and Blake Reynolds gets to the inside of Kevin King, and King can't really fight that at all. Reynolds is going to get through here. He will more than likely. Oh dear, that was close. King's going to fight back here. He's got the inside back.
He backed the corner up in turn number 3. This time the outside is going to work for Blake Reynolds. Just a little more tire on that right front and on that right rear. And Blake Reynolds will complete the pass. Coming to 2 laps to go here in stage number 2. Trying to pick up his second stage win in a row. And he is starting to get now that 29 of Kevin King. But it's not over with the lap traffic of Dorman and Margot just up the road.
And King is holding very, very well in the tracks, at least now that he's on offense instead of defense. Seems like Reynolds is struggling a little bit now that there's not a car in front of him for the first time in a few laps. King's going to pull out to the inside here. Is he actually going to be able to get to the left rear quarter panel of Blake Reynolds? He is, and he's going to get to the inside in turn 2, but Reynolds is going to fight back way harder than King did. That's very, very close, but again, the outside working for Reynolds. He's just got much, much better tire life underneath him, and he's got much, much more comfort on the outside there than Kevin King does.
Kevin King kind of missed the bottom there going into turn number 3, and Reynolds went in there expecting him to hit the bottom. So certainly a surprise there. 1 lap to go in stage number 2. We have gone green for 49 laps here at Indianapolis, and these two are duking it out for a stage win. Robert Dorman up the road. He's lapped traffic, bouncing off the wall. Where does he go now to get out of the leader's way? He goes to the high side to let this top 2 by.
Dorman opens the door, lets the leaders by, and I think that's going to be it for Kevin King in terms of this stage. But we're going to see pit stops, green flag pit stops, assuming a caution doesn't come out in likely about 6 or 7 laps time. And you saw what King could do in that last pit cycle. He pulled a 2-second gap back over Reynolds, and that was when he was 8/10 behind Reynolds coming to the stage end. So who knows what's going to happen in 6 laps time.
A little bit of a bobble there from Reynolds coming off turn number 3. I thought maybe King would be able to pounce on it, but he can't do it. And Blake Reynolds is going to go back-to-back and sweep the stages in the bricked-up 400. 50 laps to go. Blake Reynolds wins stage 2. Kevin King finishes second. Then Michael Rosero, Brandon Hawkins, Dylan Basin, your top 5. Logan Helton, Wyatt Tinsley, Matt Danson, Nick Miller, Kevin McAdams, your top 10. Almost a carbon copy of what we saw in stage number 1. And I think McAdams did get 10th. Yes, he did, barely over Jonathan Oates. Oates trying to get by him. This battle's still going on, but Kevin McAdams will remain out in front in that 10th spot.
Kevin McAdams does get that 1 spot at the end. Huge loose ahead of Kevin McAdams. That's Nick Miller in the 19, struggling a little bit off a 2. This is the end of the stint, or it's getting close to the end of the stint at least. This is when the tires are going to be at their worst. They're going to be at their slidiest. We saw Sean Butler out of the race. He was a driver who was struggling a lot with that. Cole Freilich in the previous stint was a driver who was struggling a lot. And here's those green flag pit stops. I think it might be a little bit... No, it's not early at all, because you can split this stint into 2. Yeah. Instead of doing a 28-12 or whatever I said, 28-16, you can do a 25-25, and clearly Hawkins and a few others think that's worth it.
Nick Miller going to do it. He's on the lead lap. Michael P. Frisch will join, as well as the car behind him. That's Matt Spalding. So the window is open for green flag pit stops right here at the start of stage number 3. These guys will have 1 pit stop left in this race, of course, barring any cautions that could impact the end of this race. Cole Freilich back in 17th. He's going to come in this time by. Blake Reynolds will bring it off turn number 4. He will stay out. So will Kevin King. Tyler Lannon. Nope, he's not third. It's Rosero. He will stay out. So will Logan Helton. Dylan Basin. Basin actually just got passed for that 4th position. Basin now back to the 5th spot. He's got Wyatt Tinsley all over the back door of that machine. But so far, no takers on pit road this time by.
No takers up here in the top 10, and I can't imagine there will be. These guys, they seem content to run this strategy. Just go as long as possible on those first 3 stints. Save a short run for the end. There's no real reason to take a dangerous play like this, because there's no guarantee it'll work out. You do go a lap down here with how long pit road is. It's a long track, but you do end up going a lap down. You can see Miller's a lap down, Dorman's a lap down, Frisch is a lap down. So not optimal to go a lap down and get trapped down there when a caution comes out. So 100% expect these guys to wait as long as possible, come down pit road as late as possible, and they'll have a short run to the end as we got side by side a little bit further ahead.
Well, Kevin King is in. Kevin King is in. So is Rosero. So is Wyatt Tinsley. So is Matt Danson, who almost runs the 120 over of Wyatt Tinsley. So the leaders on pit road for their penultimate pit stop. Got another one coming here off turn number 4. That's going to be Blake Bryant. He comes on. Again, no issues as far as speeding coming on pit road for these guys. They've done a great job of bringing it down to pit road and running it at, well, where they need to be at, which is 55 miles an hour by the time they get to the entrance of pit road. Actually, it's 60 mile an hour here at Indianapolis, not quite 55. Blake Reynolds, your race leader, coming to pit road.
You better hope this is a better in and out lap than it was the last time around. Looks straightforward. No issues for Blake Reynolds. Gets it slowed down to 55 miles per hour here on pit road. And now we wait. Do we see Kevin King jump him again? That one lap earlier, is it enough to jump Blake? All we can do is wait. It's a crawl down pit road. Oates is in. McAdams is in. Just about everybody's going to be in now. And now we wait.
Bit of a lockup from Ethan Corder, but he makes it onto pit road without any issues as continue to work through yet another green flag pit cycle. Kevin King just made his way off of corner number 4. Where is Blake Reynolds? He is still on pit road. He's out of his box. He is not at the exit of pit road. So once again, Kevin King is going to smoke Blake Reynolds as far as pit stops are concerned. There you see Reynolds is on the apron right there, and King is going by. A 46.1 on pit road from end to end for King, a 46.3 for Reynolds. So again, not that big of a difference on pit road. It's on the outlap where we've seen the big difference for Kevin King, just pulling away, blowing the wheels off of Blake Reynolds.
I don't think Blake Reynolds is going to be too worried about this, though, because he's proven to be able to pass Kevin King later on in the stint. The problem is, though, if we don't get another long stint, if we do get a yellow, if that cuts this stint down, King has had the short run speed and he has the track position. So it's a strategy that Blake Reynolds is completely relying on green flag running, and it's been working for him, but those conditions can change, and I don't want a yellow to come out necessarily. I'd like to see this strategy go to the end, but if it does, Blake Reynolds could be in a little bit of danger back there.
Ryan Rocky, your race leader, remember, he is off cycle. Brett Pancari will need to pit soon. In fact, he's going to pit this lap. He sits in second. He's going to get blown by Kevin King. The gap is about 4.5 seconds between Naraki and King. Naraki last pitted 20 laps ago on lap 35. So he has already run a longer stint than the last time he was on the racetrack. And he is still going to be in a spot where he is going to have to pit 2 more times compared to everybody else now, who only needs to pit 1 more time to make it to the end.
Yeah, the yellows have not been coming for Pancari or Naraki. So these strategies, while they are valiant efforts, they rely on something that's not guaranteed in racing, and when you sign up for a strategy like that, you sign up for a 50% chance that it's not going to work out, and at the moment, it is certainly not working out for Naraki. I think Pancari might have overcooked his pit stall as well, so that's just going to add insult to injury for him, but look further back on your screens, that's Hawkins getting out of the way of Blake Reynolds, so there's 2.6 second gap between King and Reynolds now, but there are no cars in between. There's just 1 car ahead of King, who might cause him a little bit of trouble in Ryan Naraki here.
And there's only 3-lap tire difference between Hawkins and Blake Reynolds. So Hawkins just pulls over, lets him go by, doesn't want to contest it. Meanwhile, for the lead, here comes Kevin King. Naraki, I think, went to try and sort of side draft him, but it ain't going to work. Kevin King's just got that much more speed. So Kevin King back out in front. With 43 laps to go here from Indianapolis, Naraki sits in second, Reynolds in third, Hawkins in fourth, Michael Rosero sitting in the 5th spot.
Kevin King on that last lap. Guess his gap, or guess how much faster he was on that lap than Ryan Naraki? 3.3 seconds. So that just goes to show the difference between 4-lap old tires and 22-lap old tires, Kevin King tires and Ryan Naraki tires. It's been a struggle on this strategy for Ryan Naraki late in the stint, but this battle has not given up for this whole race. Nick Miller and Wyatt Tinsley, and Helton, and Danson for that matter, and Basin, they've just been glued together for the entirety of this race, and now they got a buddy in Michael P. Frisch who started from the pits.
Like cats on Velcro back here. These guys have been battling for position, pretty much these same spots all race long. They still got 1 more pit stop to go, but for these guys, I'm not sure they're worried about that right now. I'm sure they're just worried about dicing it out as best they can. If we're going to see a caution, it might come from the guys in this pack.
Or it could come from Ryan Naraki. That last lap of 57.0. He's down into the 57s now, so that car is clearly very, very evil, as almost in the wall behind Nick Miller. I think that's a lapped car, actually. That's not Helton. Somebody got into the wall on the outside almost, but we're still side by side. Dylan Basin further back here. Yeah, we've had no trouble running side by side through these corners, but getting very, very, very close to the wall that's Robert Dorman in the 46, and he is a lap down, so he's not fighting for position here.
Dorman right there in the way, as you mentioned. Whoa, that was close. There was Miller trying to come up, and now here comes Basin to the bottom through turn 1.
Whoa, a little bit loose, Basin did wash up a little bit. They door bang in the short chute, but Basin is going to get by. He's going to get through Miller here. But that was very, very close. That could have been our first caution. That was the closest I think we've seen two cars running in this entire event so far. Now Danson's going to try and get by Dorman. I can't imagine Robert Dorman's going to put up too much of a fight. He is a lapped car, but no, he's not getting all the way out of the way. He's still fighting for this position, even though he's on a very, very different lap, and eventually he does have to give way. There's not quite the speed in the 46 to keep up with these guys.
Yeah, I think the goal for him was to try and get out of the way as Naraki pits again. He comes onto pit road now with 40 coming to 39 laps to go. No, this is 40 to go here, so he'll make his pit stop, but he has to pit one more time, so he's now on the same kind of sort of deal as everybody else. The only problem is that he is going to go a little bit later than everybody else, and then once he pits, he's going to be behind almost everybody else, including guys like King, Reynolds, Hawkins, Rosero, Tinsley, and the rest, all the way down through the order. As right now, Kevin King and Blake Reynolds, they kind of balanced out as far as lap times are concerned. Almost identical that last time by.
Still early days in the run, though. Still 20 more laps to go. And Blake Reynolds has found another gear late in the run here. So wait a few more laps, and I think Kevin King might start to fall off, or he's done a lot of learning in these first two stages. Remember, this is a combination that we don't race normally because it doesn't exist in real life. So Kevin King definitely got practice, but he's gotten a heck of a lot more practice in race conditions in the race, and maybe he's learned something in these first two stints that he's finally learned to apply here in this final stint, because he's actually extending the gap over Reynolds, at least for the moment. But my hypothesis, this is an experiment. It's going to be tested later in the run in about 15 laps time once those tires start to go off.
Battle for 8th. Danson and Miller back here on the back straightaway. Graham Boland, by the way, he has come onto pit road and parked the car, done for the night. Danson will take that 8th spot pretty easily from Nick Miller. Kind of sort of handed it over to him to go right on by. Next closest battle on the racetrack, about 15th. Matt Spalding, Ethan Corder back here through 3 and 4.
Corder in the 6, Spalding on the outside there in the 88. Pretty straightforward stuff here. Oh, Spalding's almost in the wall. Well done by him for avoiding the wall. Almost puts a little bit of an Indianapolis stripe on the side of the car, but stays out of it, and that's going to be Ethan Corder through very, very easily. Up ahead of him is Blake Bryant, who's continuing his charge forward, and up ahead of him is Nate Stewart, who's kind of been falling just a little bit. He qualified 11th. He's 13th now, so it's not too big of a difference, but he was a lot closer to the leaders early on in the race, and it's just been a little bit of a fall. But here's Bryant, and he might have to hold back Corder here. Bryant's been on a charge forward, but he might be on a charge backwards, at least for one position.
Okay, so Justin Melillo is bored because he is now on the racetrack. Just came off pit road. These are the first laps for him in this race so far. So he'll bring that 53 traction machine on out here to, I guess, just get his points and say, hey, I participated. He hasn't had to do much on top of the race control stand, considering we've been green wire to wire so far. It's taken him 63 laps, but he's gotten himself onto the racetrack.
I sure hope he doesn't bring out the caution, because that would be pretty embarrassing. But he actually can pick up a position. Corey Cook disconnected from the session early enough, as did Andrew Cootie. So there could be 2 spots in this for Justin Melillo. He could finish as high as 42nd. It could be a great day for Justin Melillo.
And those points do matter with how FTF does qualifying. The top 35 are locked in on speed. 36th on back is set through owner points, as well as the deal with provisionals, if there are any sponsor provisionals, what have you. Robert Dorman was the sponsor provisional for tonight. He made the race on speed, so that took away his position, I believe at least. I think he made it on speed. I'm not 100% sure. I thought he did. But we did start with 44, Justin being the 44th. So I'm not sure if we accounted for Justin not racing or what the deal was there, as Melillo now brings it onto pit road down the front straightaway. But that's how they set the grid each and every week. And for the most part, we've been sending people home, I believe, every single race so far this season. We've got 4 to go to get to the playoffs after tonight's race, and we are still sending people home. They have more than 100 people try and race their way in to the FTF.GG 500 earlier on this year, the FTF 500, whatever the heck it's called. Back at Daytona, back in February, maybe that was January, I think, maybe February. So many people try to get in that. Numbers obviously decline. It happens in every league, but still, we're sending multiple guys home a night. We're still getting crowds north of 43 drivers trying to attempt to make a race each and every week.
Yeah, that's the interesting part of filling in here every couple weeks, as I end up doing here at FTF. This is unlike any other series that I cover, because we're literally bumping about 60 cars every night from the field, and it's one of the highest oval strengths of field you can get in any league fashion at all. That's just the truth of it. It's incredible. I don't know what the SOF is of this race. I haven't seen, but I imagine it's in the high, maybe 5,000. So yeah, it's pretty good stuff. But enough about that. We got a battle for the lead that's about to heat up. Blake Reynolds has found that speed again. My Kevin King hypothesis has been disproven. He's having the same struggle he always has. And here comes Blake Reynolds again. It's deja vu with the first 2 stints.
Well, and some weeks they decide to use that iRating. Other weeks they decide not to, and it turns into a crash fest. One car just clobbered the cone and brought it onto pit road. That's Devin Mustak. He's got a black flag. I don't think he even made pit road speed. I believe he's just throwing in the towel as he pulls into his box. And, well, they're going to take tires, so we'll see. Maybe he's not completely done, but typically when you do that in any sort of league race, you're throwing in the towel. But the gap is 1.5 seconds and closing. That last time by, Blake Reynolds 0.3 faster. There is a lap car in between our top 2. It's Art Reimer in that 49.
So I'm thinking to the next pit stop, it's going to come. It's guaranteed to come in the next 14 laps or so. And that's going to be a short run to the end for Blake Reynolds and a short run to the end for Kevin King. Kevin King has proven to be able to pull 2 to 3 second gaps on pit road somehow. I don't know how. I don't know if Blake Reynolds knows how, but either way, he has lost the lead after every single pit cycle. So the only way he's going to be able to win this race on that short run is if he's able to stay ahead of Kevin King, or if he's able to at least stay closer to Kevin King. And I think the way he's going to have to do that is he's going to have to come in before Kevin King. If I'm Blake Reynolds, I'm bringing it down pit road with maybe 20 to go, 25 to go. And I'm going to make Kevin King come in after me, and I'm going to hopefully be the guy who actually makes the undercut work, because that's going to be the only way I think that he's going to be able to stay ahead of Kevin King and actually win this race with that short run to the end.
32 to go, so we're getting closer and closer to that window. The gap is less than a second between our top 2. Then you got Brandon Hawkins almost 6 seconds back. Actually, more than 6 seconds back. Michael Rosero back there, 9 back. Logan Helton, 11.5 back. But now the tricky part here for Reynolds is going to be getting by this 49 of Art Reimer and not losing a ton of time to that 29 of Kevin King.
Shouldn't be too difficult. The lap cars have been rather kind tonight. And yeah, Art Reimer just pulls off to the side. But as Kevin King crosses the line here, that's a 16-lap stint. So those last 16 laps, that's the last 16 laps of the race. And if it happens exactly the same way, if Reynolds comes in after a 28-lap stint, after King comes in, this is what the gap would look like at the end of the race. Blake Reynolds would lose the race by 0.6 of a second, so he's got to find a way to reverse this, because we've just run the final stint of the race as a practice run before the actual final stint, and Blake Reynolds isn't winning this thing.
Gap is down to 0.5 of a second between this top two. They've been slugging it out all race long. Now, if you're Blake Reynolds, do you dare pit now so you're on fresher tires? Because normally what happens is King pits later. He comes out on those fresher tires, Reynolds pits later, and King comes out on those fresher tires and just blows by. If Reynolds pits first, is he going to get that similar advantage of having the fresh tires even just a lap longer than Kevin King and being able to outpull him? Or do they just pit the same lap?
Well, that's what I suggested, and if I'm Blake Reynolds, I'm going to do something. I have to do something remarkable. There's 30 laps to go, so you're not going to come in now.
Landon Mills is around. Turn
and there's the yellow.
Caution's out. Landon Mills got turned around by Cole Freilich in the middle of turn number 3, and Mills tried everything he could to try and save it in the middle of turns 3 and 4, but could not do it. And Landon Mills brings out the caution that's going to change everything, because now, Joey, you're just on the edge of being able to make it the scheduled distance to the end.
Yeah, throw all that strategy talk out of the way, and yeah, that was just a bumper to the back of the 25 by Cole Freilich there. Nothing Landon Mills could have done there. Let's take a look at it again. We ride on board with Freilich. He sends it in. And yeah, there's just no regard for human life there. Just dumps him, and Cole Freilich gets through. Lucky to not actually collect the back end of the 25 there, but yeah, that's 100% on Cole there, and I think he knows that. But we're gonna restart here with 26 laps to go, so they should be safe on fuel. There shouldn't need to be much saving, but it's gonna be a flat-out run to the end. And nobody's been better on a 27-lap run than Blake Reynolds. And if he takes the lead here early, he's going to be hard to beat.
Gonna get pit stops here, and this more than likely will be the money stop to get us to the end of the race.
Here we go. King is going to round turn 4 here. Reynolds in tow. Hawkins now has closed down that gap. Rosero and Helton, a few other guys, are now suddenly in the fight. They haven't had the long run speed over the first 70 laps of this race, but now that we have just one stint to the end, if you can get that track position, if you can steal that track position, you might have a shot to be a spoiler here. I think we're going to see Ryan Naraki stay out as well, because he came down pit road 11 laps ago. This would have to be a 40-lap stint, but if, as predicted, is he coming down?
He's a lap. No, he's a lap down.
No, he's still in the lead lap, so I think, but he's coming down pit road anyway. So I thought he might stay out and wait for another yellow, and hope that we just go yellow to the end, and he can make it without anybody being able to pass him. But no, he brings it down pit road.
Yeah. Now Jake Poulin stays out. He's on 17-lap old tires. He can't make it to the end. My guess is he stayed out to lead the lap, and he'll pit this time by, because I've seen him do that before, and it sounds like that's going to be the same deal. Race off pit road. Here comes Hawkins, but Kevin King wins the race off. Then it'll be Reynolds and Hawkins. Basin and Tinsley are top 5. Rosero, Helton, Frisch, McAdams, Nate Stewart will be your top 10. Here in Indianapolis, Kevin King will be your leader, and we'll get a restart inside 26 laps to go.
And who knows what's going to happen now. This is no longer the bricked up 400K. This is the bricked up A fixed race, because we've got one run to the end, no pit stops required. It's just going to be who's the fastest over a single stint. And the answer to that question before has been Blake Reynolds, but now he has about 30 buddies around him. He was only racing Kevin King before, and now he's going to have a lot more in terms of hungry drivers who want to get by him, who want to get by Kevin King, and they want to steal it from the two guys who both probably thought they had a sure chance at victory here.
So they will be choosing soon. Obviously, we haven't had to choose yet, so how this works, basically, every track we go, they pick a different spot. Since the choose code does not exist on iRacing yet, they have to pick a different spot every week. Sometimes they have to get really creative. Mooncar does similar deals. So here at Indianapolis, what they're using is the grass over off turn number 2, in turn number 2, where the curb is and everything, down on the apron. If you want to be on the outside of the restart, you'll stay on the outside of the racetrack. If you want to be on the inside, you'll go below the grass and onto the access road. We are at 1 to green, so they will be choosing once they come over to turn number 2 as the wave rounds go by, and here comes the pace car, and we'll see what these guys decide to do.
Now, I'm the guest this week, so I don't know if you guys have thought of this idea before, but if I was you, I'd take Justin Malillo, who's in the session right now, and I'd make him the choose car. Park him in the middle of the track, make the guys go around Justin Malillo, choose car, book it. It might delay the yellow, but I think it will be worth it. Thank you. I expect to be paid for my idea.
Well, you'll have
There's
to
the choose car. There he is.
Yep. You'll have to visit the desk of Justin Malillo to see if you can get that one approved or not. So
I know you're listening, Justin.
The bottom. Blake Reynolds goes to the outside, and well, here we go. As here's Justin.
I'm not doing that.
Wow. Hey, Pocono only has 3 turns. Sorry about your luck.
You're wrong.
Well, lucky for me, we get the last word. So Pocono has 3 turns. We'll be seeing you. Kevin King and Blake Reynolds gonna lead us back down for the restart. We'll have 26 laps to go when we get the green flag. We'll see if we can make it those 26 laps. Green, if we do, this may be the fastest we've ever completed an FTF race, at least in my time. Normally, we finish a race well after midnight. Last week, we finished everything, I think, at 12:01. And this week, we're on pace to crush that record. We'll see what happens. Pace car is in. Kevin King's on the gas. Well, green flag, 26 to go in the bricked up 400K. Brandon Hawkins with a good run on that inside line. Kevin King did not quite get going, but he will slot into that second spot. Here comes Basin around the outside.
Basin trying to pick up these positions as soon as he can here up into the top 3. Remember, Dylan started 12th. He's been around that fight for 5th, 6th, and 7th all day long, and now he's finally got a shot to take that top 3, and he is clear of Hawkins, just barely. Now Rosero, he's probably the most anonymous car of the top 10 here. He's trying to break back into that top 3 as well, but Basin's on a charge here, at least on the short run, and he wants position here. This is his only shot at the victory.
Trouble! Ryan O'Rocky makes contact with Matt Spalding. They saved it. Spalding got squeezed up and into the outside wall. I thought they weren't going to make it around, but they're able to make it work. 25 laps to go now, and it's a choo-choo train up at the front of the field.
Side-by-side trains, though, further back. Is that Dorman? That's Robert Dorman, still a lap down, I believe. And then here we go. This is, there's Robert Dorman. And I shouldn't have mentioned Robert Dorman because I just willed him into the wall.
Well, I don't know if that's all on us, but nonetheless, there is lap traffic ahead of the race leaders. It is Tyler Landon, and they are closing in on him at a pretty quick rate right now. So we'll see if he has an impact and what impact he could have as Kevin King starting to pull away a little bit from Blake Reynolds. Perhaps Reynolds just backing up the corners a little bit, backing up the times, so that way late in this run, he has enough tire to get to that 29 to give him a show.
So it's 24 to go at the line. We've actually got to go 29 laps on this stint, which is further than we've gone in any stint so far tonight. So fuel saving could be important here. If we don't get another yellow, is King going to be able to save enough fuel at the head of this train? He's certainly running a slower pace than he normally would because we've still got this huge train formed up, but it might be a bad thing to be the leader here.
Possible, and maybe that's why Reynolds doesn't want to get by that 29 of Kevin King, just so he can save enough fuel with where he's at in line, coming to 23 laps to go.
If we get a yellow, of course, all that goes out the window, and I think that's what that's what all these guys are banking on, that everybody's packed back together, everybody's desperate to make up spots, and they end up running into each other and bringing out the caution. But no, we've been almost completely clean. There's been a few jumps into the wall. We saw Dorman knock the wall down. We saw a few other issues, but other than that, it's been fairly clean. Side by side here, further back, the 12, and that's Landon Mills trying to move his way back up forward after being the car that brought out the caution after he got turned by Cole Freilich. He's probably angry, and he's probably on an angry charge forward here.
Yeah, I saw Mills get a little loose coming off turn 4 and thought he was about to wreck it, but he's able to keep it clean. Oh, trouble. Philip McCandless got super sideways there through turn number 3. He's able to save it. He got run over by David Cabrera after there was a stack up in front of him because now Hawkins out of line trying to make a move for position number 4, and he's getting freight trained by Rosero, who's now going to try and get Dylan Basin.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to get out of the line right now because we've got such a huge train here. It's almost like the previous next-gen iteration on iRacing, back when we raced that at Auto Club. That was just a single line fest, and if you broke out of line, you can kiss about 20 positions goodbye. So I don't know if getting out of line is the best thing to do right now. Rosero's still in line. He's trying to put the bumper to Blake Reynolds. Here's Dylan Basin as well. And he's staying back. He's saving fuel, but Brandon Hawkins not. He's sending it. He wants track position.
This feels like a plate track right now, the way these guys are pulling out of line down the back straightaway and down the front straightaway. Here comes Hawkins. He's looking for third. Dylan Basin up the hill big time. That's going to let Tinsley and perhaps Logan Helton get by. The bottom side doesn't have much help down early in the straightaways, but come the start of the corner, everybody pulls out like they're at Pocono trying to dive down into turn number 1. Here comes Rosero looking for second.
Rosero's getting aggressive as well. He wants track position. He's not saving fuel. He's not saving anything. I was worried in turn 1 that he might have sent it a little bit too hard. I thought he was going straight into the back of Kevin King, but no, he was able to keep that car rolling, keep it in a straight line, and I think he might make the move on King here. Hawkins certainly going to make the move on Reynolds. I think it might actually be good for Kevin King to let one of these guys by, let them be over aggressive, let them take the lead and save a little bit of fuel, save a little bit of tire, because that's been your issue in competing with Blake Reynolds, and just hang back for a little bit and it might pay off at the end.
That's if they can't make it to the end on fuel. I think with where they're at with the caution and everything, they should be okay. Considering they did have a lap and a half or so to save under the caution flag. 20 to go. Here comes Rosero looking for the lead in turn 1.
Rosero washing up the track just a little bit. Again, he's playing dangerous games with Kevin King, but he's clearly got the speed. They're 3 wide further back. Basin and Helton and Tinsley as well. Well done, holding all of that.
Helton just missed the bottom entirely, and that's going to cost him a ton of spots. Here comes Frisch. Here comes Kevin McAdams. Here comes Ethan Quarter, although he's going to go to the outside line. Try and stop the bleeding here, but meanwhile, Rosero has the lead. Kevin King's trying to get it back on him.
Rosero on the outside. That's not where I expected him to be. I expected if he was going to take the lead, it would be on the inside, but no, he's found the outside. He's going to get around Kevin King. Brandon Hawkins is almost going to make it 3 wide. And now he's got a shot at the lead. Is he going to send it to the inside of Rosero? Of course he is, if he can get there. But no, Rosero blocks it off.
Great move by Rosero, though, coming down the front straightaway to come down in front of the 99, kind of pull him along to make him side by side going into the corner. And that's going to give Rosero a huge lead. 2, 3, 4 car lengths coming off turn number 2. Now the rest of this pack is going to have to try and close him down. And now we're going to start to snake down the back straightaway. Try and break that draft with 19 laps to go.
This is all making Tyler Lonan very happy. We thought he was going to go a lap down, but with all this fighting, he's actually been able to pull away just a little bit. So he is looking likely for a lead lap finish if he can keep the car on the track. But look at this snake. Rosero pulling 3/10 over Kevin King, and you could cover, what is that, that's like down to 25th place in this train right now, which is crazy. And Hawkins is still trying to get to the back of King. Can't peek to the inside, though. It's hard to get runs. You kind of need a mistake by Kevin King in the corner to get that run. Rosero was able to find it, but Brandon Hawkins still stuck back here. It's proven very, very difficult to get by Kevin King.
Almost reminds me of the way the real cars handled at the New Atlanta a couple of weeks ago, where everybody got single file and it was really tough to pull out and make a move and not lose a ton of time or a ton of positions, especially in that Xfinity Series race where everybody sat in line until the last lap and then didn't make a move. That time, Rosero way up the hill in turn 3, and here comes the rest of the pack. They are coming. Big run from Kevin King. He's going to jump to the outside line. Rosero shuts the door. He crosses back to the bottom.
But King's got to run, and he's going to get to the left rear quarter panel of Rosero here. He's going to have the inside here. That's the optimal line here in turn 1. And there's no way Rosero is going to be able to fight back on the outside. And he knows that. Luckily, there was a gap. Brandon Hawkins allowed there to be a gap, whether it was intentional or not. And Rosero does get back in line. It's going to be hard to retake the lead, though. We saw how much trouble Brandon Hawkins had trying to pass Kevin King. Rosero was able to do it once, but doing it another time is going to be pretty difficult.
Just needs a mistake, like you talked about. And Rosero made that mistake going into turn number 3, and that opened up the door for that 29 to go right on by. We're coming to just 16 laps to go here at Indianapolis. Kevin King is your leader. Then Rosero, Hawkins, Reynolds, Tinsley, your top 5 off turn 4.
Michael Frisch is 6th. When did that happen?
Well, this run.
Because we've been tracking his move forward all night. He started from the pits. He's been slowly but surely moving his way forward, but I thought he came down pit road in about 11th. But no, Michael P. Frisch up to 6th place, and he is legitimately in the conversation for the victory here, as I think basically everybody in the top 10 is at this point. It's going to be hard for the likes of Nate Stewart and Kevin McAdams at the back, but with how close these quarters have been, if there's even a little bit of contact, a little bit of trouble, it's anybody's race still.
Blake Reynolds got really loose coming off turn number 1, and he's going to pass 2 cars for the price of 1. He's going to slot into 2nd. Now here comes Hawkins on Rosero to try and get 3rd. Rosero lifted a little early, I think, going into 3. That's what allowed Reynolds to get that 2-piece going down into turn number 3, but he makes it work. And now these two back at it once again. Remember, Reynolds won stage 1 and stage 2. He's trying to win the whole thing with now 15 laps to go.
Be very afraid, Kevin King. And I'm sure he is, because Blake Reynolds already, you can see he's so much faster through the corners. He's been able to pass Kevin King every single time he's gotten to the back of him. It's going to be a terrible task to keep Blake Reynolds behind. And I don't know if Kevin King has anything for Blake here. If he is to the back of him, 15 laps to go. Blake's faster. He's not slowing down. King's got to find something in him. He's got to get some extreme defensive chops here to hold Blake Reynolds back. It's going to be extremely difficult.
Hawkins able to take 3rd away from Michael Rosero. Just ripped it out of his hands coming through turn number 3. And now they're going to have to mount a charge to get to that 29, coming to 14 laps to go. Laps quickly ticking by here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Frisch not moving forward as quickly as I thought he would. He's kind of stuck there. Him and Dylan Basin have been swapping spots, and he's up off the groove, washes up just a little bit, almost turns Dylan Basin in front of the field. Frisch is in a high position here. He's much higher than his start from the pits, but he is struggling just a little bit. Almost killed Dylan Basin and almost kills the wall now in the exit of 2.
Maybe push those tires a little bit too much, and that could be the difference. As the leaders come screaming down toward turn number 3. Kevin King remains out in front. There is lap traffic ahead. It's Tyler Landon. He is running a couple of tenths slower than the leader, so he should get caught by the time this thing is said and done. The question is, when will the leaders get to the back bumper of that 64? 13 to go this time.
Reynolds holding back just a little bit. I don't know if that's being unable to get a run or if that is just holding back, but on the straights, again, it's just been a struggle for Blake Reynolds. It's been a struggle for everybody to make moves, but luckily for him, he is much stronger than Kevin King's in the corners at the moment and essentially in the entirety of this race once we get to this stage of a stint. And that is how he's been able to get by Kevin King every time. He's been able to get a run on the exit of 2 or on the exit of 4. And once you have that run, you don't need to draft down the straight because the side draft has proved very, very powerful, as Jonathan Oates is actually finding a little bit further back with Ryan Naraki. I believe Oates is going to get to the inside. And how about Ryan Naraki? P12. That is not where he was going to finish when that strategy was working out under green, but he got a yellow. He came down pit road, and he's probably going to come out with a top 15 here.
Yeah, that caution saved his race for sure. Now 12 laps to go this time by.
And Tyler Gary as well, another driver who started from the back. I mentioned that he was unable to move forward at the same pace as Frisch and a few others were, but Tyler Gary, another driver in the top 15 here. It's been a great stint here for Gary, side by side with Naraki. These guys are both on track for good finishes here, but they're getting awfully close.
Things starting to spread out little by little here in this lead pack. The only thing that hasn't changed how close Blake Reynolds is to the back bumper of that 29 of Kevin King. He has not left the rear view mirror of Kevin King since he was able to get into that second spot, and he is lurking ever so closely to the back bumper of that 29, trying to put together the race-winning move, coming to 11 laps to go. He can't wait forever.
He can't wait forever, but he does still have 30 miles to go. Well, now we got 11 to go. So there were 30 miles to go. Now there's something like 27 and a half miles to go. But Blake Reynolds has the speed. Making the move has been the difficult part, though. King actually builds a little bit of a gap through turn 2 there. So I wonder, has Reynolds been a little bit less kind to the tires on this stint now that he's closer with a lot of other drivers? He's had to fight with Hawkins, Rizzero as well. It's not been a 2-horse race up front. I wonder if he's been a little bit more aggressive this stint and he's struggling just a little bit more. That might be what's evening things out here.
Or he's backing off, trying to build a run to that 29 and bring Hawkins and Rizzero with him to get to the front. That draft's super important here with these cars at this racetrack. 10 laps to go from the bricked up 400.
And they are catching Tyler Lana now. That lapped car, all the fighting was very helpful for Tyler. It allowed him to pull ahead just a little bit, but right now he's like a full second a lap slower than King and the rest of these leaders. So yeah, he's going to have to get out of the way here. You can already see him. You can already see King within about 5 car lengths of him. So I would, if I was Tyler, I'd bring it down on the access road here just to let everybody by, but he'll let everybody by. It shouldn't be too difficult. He's just got a very long train of cars, and every single one of them is going to have to get by here.
See what he decides to do as the field gets his draft now and is ever so closer to the back bumper. That 64 stays up along the high side of the racetrack. He's telling the field he's going to stay on the high side, going through 1 and 2, so that might be a little bit in the way, especially on the straightaways. But there go our top 2 down to the bottom. Hawkins will get by as well. Rizzero has dropped off immensely in that 4th spot. A significant gap between 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, these two have been the strongest all race, and they're proving that again. Even on a short stint like this, King and Reynolds already pulling over half a second now to Brandon Hawkins, or just about half a second to Hawkins. Rizzero's falling back. Tinsley's falling back. The train's falling apart just a little bit, but we got one heck of a race up front here. Blake Reynolds. Oh, we got the caution, and that is going to be very interesting.
Nick Miller off of turn number 2. Another car involved, Lucas Plessel. Nick Miller got loose off turn 2, overcorrected it, and absolutely drop kicked the outside wall. A hard shot for the 19, who was at one point inside the top 10 for most of this race, and his night likely done. Here's a replay.
Yeah, Miller just gets loose in the middle of the corner. That's very interesting place to lose it. And then yeah, the 12, nowhere to go there. Absolutely nothing anybody could do. But Miller just horrifically loose in the middle of the corner and couldn't save it. Let's take a look at it again. It's just it's earlier than we've seen everybody else get loose. But once you overcorrect like that, Sebastian Bourdais style, you are just going to knock down that wall. And how close everybody was, it's hard to avoid that, but now we got a 6-lap run to the finish probably after this caution is over. And do guys take tires? I don't know, but let's ride on board with the Mike's Hard Lemonade number 12 here. Yeah, that's just a car and an instant stop. Nothing you can do there.
Well, now what do? Do you pit? Do you stay out?
I stay out if I'm Kevin King because I have track position. If I'm Blake Reynolds, I'm staying out as well, but I don't know. That's the tough thing to do. If King stays out and Reynolds comes in, I think the other 30 cars on the lead lap are also coming in, and Kevin King's going to be screwed. So let's watch here. If King comes in, everybody's coming in, I think.
Let's see.
Oh,
Looks like
some
Tinsley
guys
might consider staying out.
He dummied me.
No, everybody going to come to pit road. That car you see staying out, that's Robert Dorman. He's a lap down, so he's going to get back on lead lap here with the wave around, as will a couple other cars. But everybody, I mean, they've got 3 tire sets left at least. You might as well come down and use them here, especially if we do get a green-white checker. I'd rather make sure you have enough fuel for the end than have to save a ton.
And if this was like a 2-lap run to the end, I would probably expect to see more guys staying out, but we've still got 6 laps, probably 5 laps actually, to run at the end of this race, which isn't the longest run in the world, but it's also not the shortest run in the world. So you definitely do want, but some guys are taking 2 tires here. That is very interesting, and Logan Helton's actually going to lead the race off pit road.
Logan Helton, party of 1 to take 2 tires, at least out of guys that are contending for the win. Art Reimer did it as well. He's back in the 22nd spot. So Logan Helton with the bold 2-tire strategy call to take the lead. Everybody else taking 4 freshies. Let's see what happens for the driver of the 63. Nobody has taken 2 tires as far as this race is concerned, so he's the first one to do it. And this could have big implications as far as who wins this race, whether or not he goes down in the first corner and has grip on the left side of the car or not.
Yeah, that's always the danger of taking 2 tires, but Logan Helton was not going to win this race if he took 4 tires. This is essentially the only thing he could do. He needed to do something different to break up the duopoly of Kevin King and Blake Reynolds. I don't know if it's going to work for him. I don't know if it's going to end catastrophically in the wall, but this was the only way he was going to get this track position. And if we do get that aggression on the restart, drivers are going to know there's only going to be 5 or 6 laps to go. They're going to want to make the moves early. And with that always comes drama, and almost always comes caution. So this could work out for Logan Helton, but he's going to need some quick cautions.
Robert Dorman, Griffin Jones, Jeremy Clapper Newell, all lapped cars staying out to get the wave around. They will go by. We are 1 lap to green. We'll hit the choose cone here this time. We'll get a restart with 5 laps to go.
5 laps. That'll be about 12.5 miles if my calculations are correct. And Logan Helton could be the spoiler here, or Kevin King could get an expected win. If Helton wasn't here, I would say it's 100% advantage King, because he's been unbeatable on the short run. Reynolds wasn't able or didn't want to make the move on the previous stint. I can actually see Helton and a few other guys, they are choosing those positions. Helton will start on the inside, not really a surprise there. And Reynolds is going to start behind him. It's going to be an interesting restart. If King can get a jump on Helton, if he can actually go around the outside in turn 1, take advantage of the disadvantage of 2 tires, it could be a comfortable win for King. But I don't know. Anything can happen here on this restart.
Just going to have to wait and see. A reminder of what's coming up next here on FTF.GG. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern, Winstel, the Gen 4 Challenge 2006, the season finale for in the second part of the season, 3-part season there at Richmond. We'll be here with you for that, 8 o'clock tomorrow. Then Wednesday, somewhere, some sort of track combination, ERL, 7:30 Eastern Time. The NASCAR Qualifying iRacing Series is back on Thursday from Michigan, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. We are back a week from tomorrow from Michigan, with just, after that, 3 races to go to set the field for the playoffs. Let's finish this race first. Logan Helton is your race leader. He is on the gas immediately. Let's see. Kevin King was a little wishy-washy on that. Helton might get a penalty coming his way if he jumped that restart. They might have to look at that. Nonetheless, here they come rocketing off turn 1. Kevin King pulls it on the outside.
The outside's working for him, at least for now, but Reynolds is on the attack on the inside. He's desperately trying to hold on. But there goes Reynolds.
There goes Reynolds. Around, into the wall now. Wyatt Tinsley crashes. Nate Stewart crashes. A big crash on the back straightaway. Caution's out. just those 3 cars. Somehow everybody else was able to avoid it. Tinsley and Stewart crashed trying to avoid that 66 who spun on the bottom of the racetrack. Caution is out, and we are going to overtime here at Indianapolis.
And this is exactly what Logan Helton wanted to see. I don't actually know if we're going to go to overtime. I think it might be 2 to go once this caution
Natural
ends.
green-white checker.
Yes, it will be. But this is exactly what Logan Helton wanted. He wants cautions to go to the end here. He doesn't want long runs because he'll get past. But let's take a look at what happened to Reynolds here.
He said the wheel just got thrown out of his hands after that contact. We'll talk with him here in a moment.
Yeah, he made contact on the exit of the corner with Kevin King and Wyatt Tinsley.
Hey.
Hold your brakes, my friend.
Well,
you
can see he was locked up. You can see when he comes back down the racetrack, all 4 tires are locked up. So he was trying.
He was certainly trying, but that is remarkable stuff for everybody to avoid Wyatt Tinsley. Blake Reynolds ends up down there in the apron. Nate Stewart, actually, I think, took the worst brunt of that. He took front-end damage from Tinsley. He took right-side damage on the wall, so he's probably the worst one out of everybody there, but wow. That was dramatic. Let's ride on board here. I believe this is some great avoidance here from Chris Wetz. Sees the smoke, sees more smoke. Oh.
Hey.
Well, that's one way to make it through.
Let's talk with the guy that's won stage 1 and stage 2 tonight. Brought out the caution flag. Blake, what happened?
I'm trying to figure that out. I didn't feel like I was close to Kevin, so I'm assuming it's some kind of netcode, but I have a direct drive wheel and the wheel got thrown out of my hand, and it kind of hurt my hand because I was shocked by it. So I don't know, but I'm back here now. I'm gonna get tires and see what I can do.
Any shot to win this race at all? I mean, stuck in 30th.
No.
Gonna need a lot of help.
Yeah. I'm gonna need probably every green light checker, but it's all right. We got our stage points, playoff points. That's really what I care about at this point because I'm locked in. So I'm not all too mad. Like I drove a good race at this point. It is FTF, so maybe I can still get a top 20 or top 15 here.
Well, best of luck the rest of the way, Blake. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
That is Blake Reynolds. Run out this 3rd caution flag of the night.
So lights will be out on the pace car next time around. So it will be a green-white checker. We will technically restart with 1 to go, but yeah, it'll be a green-white checker. And Logan Helton is very, very happy about that because that last restart was absolutely perfect for him. Kevin King thinks he jumped it a little bit, but I don't know. We got to leave that to Justin Malillo and the admins to see what really went on there, but it worked for Helton, and if he can do that again, he's at least going to win the race on track, most likely.
So lights stay on, so we are going to overtime. Looks like we're going to go 1 lap over. And do 101 laps here. And we will set them up and try it again. So lights should be out this time by on the pace car. And we'll reset them and try it once more. And we got a choose cone once again, but Logan Helton, I think, may have been in trouble had this thing stayed green, but with that caution, that's certainly going to help him, I think, a little bit.
The problem is he doesn't have help in the form of Blake Reynolds fighting with Kevin King. Rossero's had speed, Hawkins had speed, Bason's had speed, but King and Reynolds were fighting tooth and nail for that position, and that was actually allowing Helton to pull a little bit of a gap, but now he's got a lone wolf in King. I'm sure Rossero and Hawkins are going to want position on him as well, but King is on his own in terms of that battle for the lead, and he's only got 1 target instead of 2. It's only Logan Helton now in front of him.
Choosing right here, heading into turn number 2. Let's see what the verdict is. Kevin King will go to the bottom. No, he won't. Oh! Plot twist. King goes to the top. Helton goes to the top. Michael Rossero goes to the lead on the bottom. And Kevin McAdams straight into the grass. He was running in 6th. Now he's going to the back.
Well, I say congratulations, Michael Rizzero, on your win, because I think that's the place to be. Helton is going to clog up the outside on 2 tires, I think, for King, and this is the perfect opportunity for Rizzero here on the inside.
So we will try it once more. Logan Helton already has a win this season. It came at Gateway after a big crash on the final lap. He went through the carnage and got himself into victory lane. That race was broadcast on Bottom Split. That's why you didn't see it here on FTF.gg, but it's going to be Logan Helton is the control car. Michael Rizzero, first car on the bottom. For Rizzero, he's looking for his first win on the season, looking for his first top 5 on the season. Just 5 top 10s. Green flag, overtime attempt number 1 here at the Brickyard. A great jump on that outside from Logan Helton. He's going to be clear by 2 car lengths going into turn number 1. The battle's on from second on back.
And it was a bad start by Kevin King. I know he likes the outside, but he lost 2 spots there. He lost a spot to Rizzero and a spot to Hawkins. Now Rizzero's on the attack. Rizzero is on the point, and if he can get by Logan Helton here, the 2 tires have hung on well in turns 1 and 2, but he's got a lap and a half to keep holding on. King's actually going to get to the inside of Rizzero here. Rizzero had the position, and it's all falling apart instantly.
Big run with Hawkins to push in trouble.
And that doesn't work.
They are wrecking. Big crash. Here comes Quarter back up the track with Landon Mills into Chris Wetz. Caution is out. We'll do it again. Logan Helton thought maybe he had enough to make it to the end, but instead Ethan Quarter turns down across the nose of Landon Mills, trying to block him, and instead gets turned into the inside wall.
Yeah, 4 wide never works, and you can see Mills peeks to the inside. Ethan tries to block him off, I think. I don't think he actually knew that Mills was to his inside. And we collected 1 car, but again, amazingly, with a car flying back into traffic at full speed, I'm amazed that we didn't pile more cars in there. But Ethan Quarter, that's going to be him done for the day. Let's watch it again here. There goes Mills to the inside. Yeah, I don't think Ethan knew he was there. I think he thought he was clear, and he very much wasn't.
Such a late block, though. I mean, he was there for so long, and then all of a sudden he just turns. I
completely agree, but it was a block, but I don't think it was. I don't think he was intending to wreck. Yeah, I don't think he was intending to wreck him. But that was a late block. That was definitely a late block.
He wasn't trying to wreck himself, but like, you're not doing that to make the corner. Like, he had so much room on the high side yet because Naraki moved up. He actually made contact a little bit with Jonathan Oates up there. And then Quarter, I guess, tried to clear himself with block. I don't know, but he has parked the car. Done for the night. That 6 car will finish unofficially in the 33rd, 34th position. Nate Stewart has a lot of damage still. He is still on pit road. Multiple laps down. But Logan Helton will remain your leader, and we'll try it again. Attempt number 2 of 3. Chris Wetz is on pit road, as well as Kevin McAdams and Scotty Smith. Wetz did make contact in that crash. He has a meatball flag. That's why he has to come to pit road, so we can get that taken care of.
Yeah, that's a very damaged car. He misses his box as well. The 26 is going to bring it down pit road. Kevin McAdams, he was already at the back of the field after the mistake he made at the choose grass, the choose lawn, and he might as well take tires. He's already at the back. Might as well do something. Maybe pick up a couple more positions if we ever actually go green to the end. Oh, also, that wasn't Landon Mills in that 4 wide action. That was Chris Wetz. I think I just realized that I misidentified him entirely.
Yep. Wetz got hit when they came back up across the track. It was Mills that made the move down to the bottom.
Yeah, that's how those cars worked. I think I might have said that in the right order once, but I just want to get it. I want to get it sure.
Shout out to Travis Brown, by the way, who made his dirt car debut earlier tonight. Well, made it to the B main from his heat. Motor go boom in the B main, and that's the night for him. So Travis unfortunately does not get to finish after the car hand grenaded on him, but he's alive, and he'll make his paved deal, paved debut in a couple of weeks at Hickory in early August. Dylan Basin now joins the program. How are we doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
How's the race car? What do you think here with a couple of green-white checkers left? Do you think you're going to have a shot?
I don't think so. I'm a little too far back and I underfueled that last stop, so I'm plowing tight in the corners. I knew it was loose the whole run, so I decided if I made it, I had less fuel in it, I'd be tighter, but I was a little too tight that last restart. Unless they wreck up ahead, I'm just going to try to bring up a top 5.
All right, well, best of luck to you. We'll let you choose and get focused for the restart.
Yep, thank you.
That is Dylan Basin, currently sitting in the P7 position, and these guys will get set to choose and get ready to go.
Helton again
And
does the
Helton
dummy.
again, and King. Oh man, I don't know. Did Hawkins make it?
I'm gonna look back here. Let's see. Ooh, he's going. Yeah, he made it. Just barely.
Yeah, he made
barely.
it barely. I mean,
He's lucky he slid a little bit, because if he didn't have that little
he's
slide.
lucky he went that way. If he went the other way, he was screwed.
Yep. That's exactly what Kevin McAdams did. He tried to go up to the top when he was literally already in the grass, essentially. So
Yeah.
it's proven tough enough to do this choose lawn thing. It's tougher than I thought.
All right, so it's going to be Logan Helton and Brandon Hawkins fighting for the win. Hawkins, one win this season. It came back when we were at Road America on the road course. This is nothing like a road course, but he has been fast everywhere we have gone this season. 11 top 10s, trying to pick up his first oval win on the season. For Logan Helton, trying to pick up his second win in the latter half of this campaign and accelerate that push for the playoffs. We'll try it again. Overtime attempt number 2, green flag.
Again, not the best start in the world for Kevin King, and that's going to allow Hawkins to block him off here. Again, same thing we saw last time. Last time it was Rosero on the attack on Helton. This time it's Hawkins, and he's going to get to the inside already.
To the inside for the lead, side by side. Let's see what kind of run Helton can put together on the outside. Instead, Hawkins with the speed and the grip down to the bottom. Here comes Kevin King. They're going to go 3 wide. Hawkins puts King in the grass. They are sideways. They are crashing into Rosero, hard into the wall. Jonathan Oates piles in. This is definitely going to be the big one. I think they all made it. But Kevin King gets blocked down to the grass and cannot hold on. And we're using our final attempt at a green and white checker in the bricked up 400.
Yeah, all the bad blocks have decided to come out here on these green-white checkers. That was very interesting, and I think King, he just clipped the grass a little bit, and it just sent him all the way across the other side of the track. It's weird because I didn't see him actually go into the grass. I don't know if he actually dipped a tire in.
Just barely.
Just barely.
Got the left side. Now, with the grass here, it's kind of three-dimensional where you get up on top of it. Watch
Yeah,
right
he's 100% in it.
Yep. He gets on it with the left sides, and that's just, you can't save it there.
And then
There's
Oates
just
in the
only so much
73.
room.
Oates in the 73 does exactly the same thing, trying to avoid it, and he ends up spearing into the side of Rosero.
Yep. And Kevin King not happy over the radio with that block that wound up putting him in the grass. Nowhere for Rosero to go. He had such a fast car. The 2 dominant cars from the day have now had trouble.
Oh, Tyler
in the
Gary in the
last
7.
5 laps. Yeah, he just lost it and then went down, slapped the inside wall. A lot of damage to that 7 machine. He's been quiet all day.
And that's so disappointing because he started from the pits. He was having such a great drive forward. He was in the top 5, and it's just a disaster.
I don't know if you saw it there. He cut left to try and avoid King coming back at the racetrack, bounced off Frisch, and then went spinning down to that inside wall. Nobody hit him when he came back up across the track, though. Surprisingly, only 4 cars involved in that. That could have been a lot bigger. But we have been spared from the big one
multiple times
throughout this race. Yeah, another angle.
Well, never
On
mind.
board with Gary Waterworth. Nope. Who is this? This is Reynolds. He's going to drift it here in the grass.
Ferrucci
Yay.
style.
Oh, he did make contact.
Yep.
Just barely with Jonathan Oates.
Well, that means that the two guys who we thought 100% were going to win this race, they're both 100% out of it, or at least 75% out of it. It's going to be somebody we didn't expect, and who knows if we'll even make it green to the end in this last attempt.
Why don't we talk with the driver that started on pit road and is now P3, Michael P. Frisch. How in the world did you wind up here in third? Where did you come from?
I was just talking to Philip about that, wondering how I got up here. But, yeah, we got a chance to win this thing.
Well, and Philip's not too far back either. He sits P9. You started from pit road. It's pretty much your tradition in most series that you start from pit road, kind of let the chaos unfold, and then at the end, you're right in the thick of it. And here you are once again. Do you think you have anything for Helton and Hawkins here?
Of course. I mean, with the insane suck up on the backstretch and front stretch, you can make multiple moves. As you just seen, they were 4 wide there. So we're definitely going to send it in and try to go win this puppy.
Looking for just your second win on the season, trying to put an exclamation mark on your point lead.
Oh, yeah. We got like a 280 point lead to second place. I think it was Kevin King or Blake. They're both wrecked now, so they don't even matter. So, yeah, we're just going to try to put another sticker on the car. Put her in victory lane.
Well, best of luck, Frisch. We'll see you at the end of this deal.
Thank you.
Coming to 1 lap to green, that's Michael P. Frisch sitting in the 3rd position, getting ready for the final restart of the night.
I'm hoping that we can have a run to the finish here. I never like to see a race end under caution, but if the last 3 restarts are anything to go by, I would not be surprised if we do end under yellow. These blocks have been aggressive, and they've ended in disaster every time. So hopefully, some of the drivers that have left, they get a little bit of common sense in their heads and think, you know what? Maybe it's not worth it to block all the way down to the grass for 7th place. Maybe we want to finish this thing under green.
Have to wait and see. Here we go with the choose. Let's see what Hawkins decides to do. He has yet to be in the lead in this position. He chooses outside. So will Helton. Frisch will take the bottom. We just heard from him. How about last year's winner, Ryan Nalraki? We thought his strategy was not going to work. He now sits 3rd on the outside line. He'll be 6th for the restart. If they wad him up, he may be in the catbird seat in that 37.
That's the thing. Now that everybody we thought was going to win this race is completely out of it, it is truly anybody's game. Landon Mills is still in the top 7 after what happened with him and Ethan Corder. Bryant, McCandless, Danson, Rabideau, even Wyatt Tinsley with that heavy damage is still in 13th. Anything can happen here, and as Murray Walker said, it probably will.
Keep an eye on Blake Reynolds back in that 15th position. He may try to pick off a couple more and get himself into the top 10. They don't want to throw it. The admins don't want to throw another caution if they don't have to. Basically, they told him, hey, dude, don't wreck. Now, last lap, it's fair game, past the point of no return. We are racing to the checkered flag. If they crash at any point with 2 laps to go, that's where things could get tricky. Basically, they're going to have to clear the track up pretty quick in order for it to not be a caution flag. Brandon Hawkins and Michael P. Frisch on the front row for the last restart here from the Brickyard. A great launch from Hawkins, a little sluggish start from Michael P. Frisch side by side for 2nd at turn 1.
These jumps on the restarts have been huge, whether it's Hawkins or Helton up front. Helton on the outside trying to make it stick, but he's not going to be able to. He almost gets turned by Basin.
Trouble behind him. Tyler Landon gets turned around. He's onto the apron. Single car spin. He saves it. We stay green. Brandon Hawkins is long gone, and Michael P. Frisch has a lap and a half and little drafting help to try and catch up as they're blocking 3 and 4 wide. Jake Pullen gets sent into the dirt. Nope, he saved it.
Well done.
Saved by Pullen. coming through 3 and 4. They got to make it around the white flag. I think if they crash far enough in the back, they may be willing to keep it green. Kevin McAdams just got put into the wall in turn 4, but here they come. White flag, one more lap to go. Ryan Noraki battling for third. Frisch is 3/10 back as Noraki round the outside of Logan Helton.
Now does Frisch have 3/10 in the bag here on this final lap? That's going to be extremely difficult. Noraki around Helton, who's on those 2 tires, and 2 tires really not working out here. Now that we've actually run 2 laps, Noraki's through, and to get a podium, Bason's in the wall, and we got a little bit of slides in the back. Another huge block by Bason, but we're going to get the checkered flag here.
Here they come, down the back straightaway for the final time. Frisch has closed the gap. It's down to 2/10 using the draft. Let's see if he has a vintage moment in him coming through turn 4. Sideways, further back, but here they come. Through the final corner, the bricked up 400K. Brandon Hawkins going to look in his mirror and put the pedal down. He won't have to worry about a thing. Dylan Bason into the wall. They're almost crashing behind, but Brandon Hawkins going to win at Indianapolis.
Well held, and that was just a masterful restart by Brandon Hawkins. He could not be touched. Frisch didn't quite have enough speed, and Ryan Noraki, that's got to be my driver of the day. The strategy was not going to work out for him under green, but in the chaos of all those cautions, Noraki finds himself in third, and that's a great result for Ryan up here.
For Ryan Noraki, that finish, his third top 5 of the season, 4th top 10 on the season. For Frisch and Hawkins, both incredible seasons. They're both north of 10 top 10s this season. For Frisch, now his 10th top 5. Hawkins with his 8th top 5 and his 2nd win. Remember, he locked himself into the playoffs already, had a win at Road America. Got the minimum start count today. Somebody just died on the front straightaway and hit the pit attenuator head on, but it's not Brandon Hawkins. He's taking that number 099 to victory lane.
I just want to talk you through the starting positions in the last 10 here, or the top 10 rather. Top 10 finishing positions. 5th, 9th, 16th, 29th, 41st, 22nd, 8th, 6th, 28th, and 3rd. So the majority of our top 10 started deep in the field in the form of Michael P. Frisch. He started from the pits. He didn't actually start 9th, so just a race that ends in that many yellows and that many wrecks. You got to survive to the end no matter where you start.
Let's take a look at our results from tonight's race. Brandon Hawkins, your winner. Michael P. Frisch finishes in 2nd, then it's Ryan Noraki in 3rd. Landon Mills and Blake Bryant round out the top 5, then it's Spalding, Logan Helton, Blake Reynolds, top 10. He did it. Finishes 8th. Matt Danson 9th. Wyatt Tinsley finishes in the 10th spot.
P11 was Phil McCandless from 42nd on the grid. Cole Freilich had some troubles on the tires, but he finished 12th. And Tyler Gary, despite being involved in one of those cautions at the end of the race, he still finished 13th. Gary Waterworth, 14th, and David Cabrera, 15th. Rabideau, Poland, Dorman, Bason, and Art Reimer rounded out the top 20. Dylan Bason, of course, lost to top 5 in the last lap there after knocking down the wall a couple times.
Yeah, he said he got put into the wall, and that broke the toe link on that car. That's why he limped it home in 20th. Ryan Pandisio, Quiet Night, finishes in 21st. Brett Punkari in 22nd. Scotty Smith, 23rd. Clint Roberts, 24th. Jonathan Oates was involved in one of those crashes on a green-white checker, finishes 25th. Tyler Landon got crashed on that last green-white checker and finishes 26th. Andy Margot, 27th. Kevin McAdams, he was broken those last 2 laps, finishes 28th. 1 lap down in 29th. Griffin Jones, 4 laps down in 30th. Your pole sitter, Michael Rosero.
And then kind of the used car lot here for the rest of the field. Wrecked cars, Kevin King, Jeremy Clapper-Newell, Nate Stewart didn't make it to the end. Chris Wetz got destroyed. Lucas Plessel, Ethan Corder, Nick Miller, Devin Mistak, Graham Bolin, and then 4 others. Sean Butler didn't make it to the end. Lane Tidwell, Andrew Cootie, Corey Cook, Justin Malillo went out for 1 singular lap. He gets 44th, and Ryan Huff did not start the race. And that's the field for tonight.
Yep, Huff did not qualify. That's why he did not make an attempt. Let's talk with our race winner. Brandon Hawkins did not have the fastest car of the day by any stretch, but there at the end when it mattered the most, able to put yourself in the right position, the right place at the right time to get you to victory lane. How about it? Of course, Brandon muted on our end. So
sorry.
There it is. There.
Man, I'm not sure like what to like. I'm a little bit conflicted. Oh man, like I feel like that block at the end, like I don't know, like I don't think it was my fault. Like it looked like Kevin was still behind me when but like I just hate that I took out I don't know how many cars there. Like yeah, I feel pretty bad about that. But other than that, yeah, really great race. All like pretty much the entire race, first 75 laps or so that went green, and had some really great battles up there with Kevin, Blake, a whole bunch of guys up there. Logan there at the end, he took 2. That was a really cool move, and man, yeah, just some great battles all the way through the race. Really clean race for the most part. I just wish it didn't come to that. I got to the inside of Logan, and I saw the run that Kevin had coming up there, like on the outside, and I knew he was going to make that move to the bottom, so I anticipated it. But yeah, man, his tires were just barely in the grass, and then it like popped up and it just shot him right. So I feel really bad about that. But man, I know, like both of us, we've always raced really clean with each other. So I hope we can continue doing so. I did not mean like for that to happen at all. Even though I don't know, I felt like I did what I had to do, and I did not mean to like cause a wreck. If I did, I don't know. It looks fine, I think, on my end, but I'm not sure. But I'd just like to thank everybody who puts this thing on. You guys in the broadcast booth, Nexus Esports, really good race with Logan there at the end, and we'll see you guys next week. Hopefully it don't cause any drama there, but yeah.
Well, Brandon, congratulations on the win tonight. Best of luck next week when we head on to Michigan.
Well, thank you, guys.
Brandon Hawkins, your winner tonight from Indianapolis. Now, second place finisher Michael P. Frisch. Of course, we just talked to him a little while ago. Here he is with Joey.
Yeah, Mike, it's been about 5 minutes since we last talked to you, but welcome back to the booth, and same position you were in when you talked to us last.
Actually, I was sitting third, but yeah, I moved up position.
Close enough.
Yeah, close enough. But no, we gave it our all there. Honestly, Hawkins is such a talented racer at what he does. He does a lot of road racing, but he's really improved on the oval side to hang with us and the big guys. And he's definitely proven this year that he is definitely a competitor. But yeah, like I said, I gave him my all. I hit the fastest lap of the race, the last lap.
So what more do you think you needed on that last restart? Because it seemed like every time on those restarts, whether it was Helton, whether it was Hawkins, whether it was anybody else, it just seemed like the leader was able to get an insane jump on every one of those restarts, and it was almost impossible to catch him.
Probably just to time it a little bit better. It's very hard to time it when he's on the outside because it's very hard to see out of that end of the next gen. So you really got to be on it. But if we were side by side going into one, definitely would have had a shot. But if you miss your timing, it's history.
So if you haven't noticed, we don't run this combination in real life. We run the next gen cars on the road course in Indianapolis. But after running 100 laps here, do you think we should bring the Brickyard 400 back for real?
Yeah. The racing was absolutely insane tonight. Shout out to Kevin on the setup. It drove off the rear like. We drove off the rear at Atlanta, and I thought that was hard. I was holding my wheel straight, trying to just keep this thing from not getting underneath of me. But it was really, really fun to drive. Had to put it into the driver's hand tonight to be fast, and it definitely showed. At the beginning of the race, it got a little messy at the end, but the first half of the race was very, very enjoyable.
Well, congrats on your charge through the field tonight, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. I just want to shout out Lowline Racing, Barr Visuals, Elliott Sadler Esports, and Next Level Racing for all the support they've given me, and FTF for all you guys have done, and all the admins. Shout out to you guys. And yeah.
All the shout outs we need. Michael P. Frisch, your second place finisher, but we got somebody who had an almost an almost even more remarkable run to the top 3. Ryan Naraki's with Jake.
Well, how about that? A winner a season ago, and we kind of scratching our heads at the strategy, thinking it wasn't going to work just because we didn't have any cautions early on, and then right at the very end, all of a sudden, there's that 37.
Yeah, I tried a goofy strategy to try to steal some stage points, and then the math didn't work out. Then I needed a caution to make that work, and it didn't. So I was just excited to get the 5 points for leading the lap, and figured I'd finish 21st or something. And then that caution changed everything for me, and I love this racetrack. I've been campaigning so hard to come back here. The road course is an abomination. I hate it. I'm so glad we're on the oval, and really love this race tonight. It was a lot of fun.
Well, now looking at the point side of things right now, just with wins and everything being scattered over, you're sitting at 11th as far as points are concerned right now. Looking closer and closer to try and lock yourself in. The rest of the schedule, Michigan next week, then Richmond, Watkins, Glen, Daytona. Do you think you got a shot here to move on and make the playoffs?
Yeah, we'll make the playoffs. We're in a good spot in points now, and today we'll go a long way towards that. Goal is to try to make the round of 12. I've been in the round of 16 the last few years. I think we got a good shot at that. It's the turn and right thing is really bad. I struggle to get outside the top 20 on road courses, but ovals I can flirt with the top 10, usually around 15th. And if things fall my way, I occasionally can luck into a top 5. But today I was fast. I mean, I was running good times. I was just on a goofy strategy. I don't feel like I totally just lucked into this today. I had a good car today, and we were fast. Things felt perfect for me, and I was rooting hard for Frisch. I saw how Hawkins was blocking, and I felt like if Frisch could get there, something spectacular might happen, but he just couldn't quite get there.
Well, congratulations on the top 3 finish tonight, and best of luck. We'll see you next week at Michigan.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
That's Ryan Nalraki finishing in the 3rd spot tonight here at Indianapolis. Joey, final thoughts?
Well, I think this was a valiant experiment. I was initially disappointed that we weren't running the road course instead of the oval, because I did some practice on the road course and that was all for naught. But anyway, we had a great race tonight. It's a lot of chaos at the end, a lot of green-white checkers, a lot of bad blocks, but either way, it was a thrilling finish. It was a thrilling race, and if it races anything like this in real life, I think we should 100% go back to the oval with these next-gen cars.
No doubt about it. So that's it for us here on The Deuce, and potentially we'll never use this channel again. But in the meantime...
Flush the Deuce.
Yeah, on main FTF for the rest of this. The Winstel Gen 4 Challenge tomorrow at 8 o'clock. From Richmond, we're back with ERL a week on Wednesday at 7:30 from track and car combo to be determined. The eNASCAR qualifying iRacing series is back from Michigan on Thursday night at 9 o'clock, and then we are back a week from tomorrow at 8 o'clock p.m. from Michigan. And how about that? Second week in a row, the race finished before midnight, even with using all 3 green-white checkers. Way to go, guys. For Zach Johnson, our producer, and Joey Tavin alongside me, I'm Jacob Pitts. Thank you so much for watching. It is, it's Brandon Hawkins, your winner from Indianapolis.